Good morning. It is a Friday edition of GCR. That's better. It's better. Don't want to be tangled up in chords, as Bob Dylan said. Hi, I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. MC Ernest is here. Stan the Fan is not here this Friday. I don't know where Stan the Fan is. I believe Mrs. Charles had an appointment today, and so that's the reason why he couldn't make it in, but he'll be back with us next Friday. And, of course, he was in with Gary on Monday. Appreciate him and Steiner filling in for me. Much to do on a Friday edition of the program. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. And a reminder that online sports betting is just around the river bend. It's coming. We're just days away at this point here in the state of Maryland. And PressBox is your source for the best offers and sign-up incentives. Starting right now, you can get a $100 pre-registration credit from our friends at FanDuel by going to PressBoxOnline.com/offers. The $100 credit is in addition to the new user promo that you get when they go live. That's PressBoxOnline.com/offers right now to get your $100 FanDuel pre-registration bonus credit. PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Someone told me that was apparently either in the process of signing up or had signed up. That they also saw that apparently that offer also includes 3 free months of NBA League Pass. So there you go. Just sweeten the pot a little bit.
Let's go.
I believe there's some more offers that are going to be coming. I think I saw there was going to be an offer coming from BetMGM to sign up, and might be even sweeter. I don't know. Lot going on. A lot going on as sports betting, online sports betting, becomes legal in the coming weeks. Again, PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Make sure you're checking that out. Okay, on the program today, in just a few minutes, Jeremy Fowler, ESPN NFL Insider, is going to join us. They did kind of a roundtable piece this week at ESPN.com talking about the second half of the NFL season, and one of the topics that came up was Odell Beckham, and he definitely tossed the Ravens out as being a logical location for Odell Beckham. We'll talk to him more about that. Odell Beckham's name might come up as we chat with PressBox Ravens beat writer Bo Smolka a little bit later on in the program as well. Also, we will preview Maryland-Penn State. We've talked a lot of Navy-Notre Dame this week, but Maryland-Penn State is tomorrow afternoon. And Tim Brando will be on the call for Fox. Timmy B, one of the preeminent voices of college football, will check in with us a little bit later on as well. So lots to do on the program today. There was a football match last night. I'm not going to pretend like any of you care about it, so we will move on swiftly. Those teams are bad football teams. Bad. And at one point, like, it felt like the Falcons actually had a little bit of life. Like last week, they were competitive against the Chargers. You're like, I don't know, maybe. Nope.
Yeah, hopefully you didn't bet on it.
Nope.
Whatever you did.
Well, I never bet Thursday Night Football, so I'm good.
Yeah. Well, me and Stecca did. So.
You did?
Yeah, me and Stecca did, and neither of our bets hit.
I'm trying to remember what you bet.
I had Cordell Patterson at 40 yards.
Oh, that's right. In
18.
So we now know that the gratuitous grouping is already falling apart.
Yeah, because Musetti lost as well.
And Stecca had
both running backs
and
to score.
Foreman did score.
He did.
But Cordero Patterson did not, because the Falcons are garbage.
Yeah.
Why did they not play Desmond Ritter? What's up with that?
I don't know. Mariota looked lost.
Yeah, he looks terrible. Why would they not? I mean, like, is Ritter that bad? I don't know. I would probably give it a look at some point. At least get a feel for it. I mean, I thought more of Desmond Ritter than I did Sam Ehlinger, so I would have given that a shot. How do you feel about my sweater, by the way? We got to do this thing for Micah today. I got to go over and I said for Micah, and I just realized for Micah. How about that? So we got to go over to Stevenson later today and do this internship showcase. And Micah, I really wish he would have given me a little bit more notice about this. Micah informed me last night that meant that I had to prepare a 1940s-style review song and dance routine.
Yes.
And I feel like I could have used a little bit more of a heads up that that's something I needed to do. I haven't practiced my leg kicks in some time. I've done my high knees, obviously, because Russ and I were doing them on the plane that day, but I haven't done my leg kicks in quite a bit, and so I'm not prepared for it. I was getting dressed this morning, and I was thinking about the fact that I'm working a football game tonight, and I was like, I'm going to want to be comfortable because it's raining and miserable, and I don't think I'm on camera for this one, so I think I can maybe get away with it. And I'm like, crap, I got to go over and do that thing for stupid Micah with his stupid face and his stupid internship showcase. And I got to go over and stand in front of. They didn't tell me that I had to speak the last time. Like the last time I thought I was just up there to watch the kids speak, and I was like, well, this is great.
Yeah.
I can just sit back and nod approvingly and say, good job. And then after that happened, they were like, all right, now it's your turn.
You're presenting now, too.
What the hell? I didn't prepare anything. And I just walked up. I'm like, so, what's going on, gang? Not that I'm preparing anything for today. I want to make that abundantly clear. It'll be a cluster F. But how do you feel about my is the sweater appropriate?
I think it's perfect. I'm
that
gonna
what
wear a
you're
sweater.
wearing?
No. I'm gonna wear a sweater too.
Came in
And some
today.
Nice pants.
I think Micah and his T-shirt. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I thought this was a showcase.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
what are you showcasing that you're homeless?
Unfortunately, our dryer does this cool thing where it just stops once you start it and walk away.
But what kind of T-shirt is that? Is that does that say smoking ass?
It does.
Sure. We'll go with that. The old smoking ass T-shirt to the internship showcase a little bit later. Yeah. Well, yeah. Why not? I'm looking for. I'm not. Whatever. We'll do it.
That's where I'm at.
It's on the schedule. It's
30% of our grade, so I will be in attendance.
Holy crap! Wow.
Yeah, can't really skip that
30% of your grade. You better not F it up. Now it makes way more sense that Cass cared so much last time. I was blown away. I just thought she liked the internship.
Cass presented. I don't have to present. I just go.
You don't have to present?
I just look handsome next to my poster.
What the hell?
That's all I got to do.
You don't have to do anything? I got to do more than you do. The hell? And it's 30% of your grade.
Yeah, and I'm going to get 100% on it for standing there.
How the hell does this work?
I don't make the rules.
Unbelievable. You know what? I'm saying terrible things about you. I've just decided.
In the panel.
Yeah. I'm going to say, well, we'd like to have you as an intern as long as you're better than that stupid Micah.
Yeah. Anything's an improvement at this point. Yeah. Just apply.
God. All right, we'll do that a little bit later on today. I got a think tank up. Think tank. I got a think tank up right now at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter is where you find that. We're going to talk a little bit about Odell Beckham today, and I get the sense that most Ravens fans are at least interested in Odell Beckham, although those of you that are not have checked in quickly. My question is, do you really believe that Odell Beckham is the difference in the Ravens potentially winning the Super Bowl? That's the question that I'm coming back to. And I say that almost because I'm working under the assumption the Ravens will not be adding Odell Beckham. That's my belief. My belief is that Odell Beckham will not be a Baltimore Raven because I just think other locations will prove to be desirable. I keep bringing up Dallas. There was a report, I want to say from the Dallas Morning News this week that maybe it was the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. It's very difficult for me to, I take all of the Dallas newspapers. I have them shipped directly to my house, and I sit on the toilet every morning and I read all of the Dallas newspapers. It's just difficult to remember which one was which. One of them suggested that Odell Beckham indeed was more interested in perhaps a warm weather climate, which makes all the sense in the world. As I've said over and over again, if I'm Odell Beckham, I've already won a Super Bowl. I don't know why I'd be in a rush to run off to Buffalo and spend my November, December, January in Buffalo. I get it. It's easy to say, well, you could win the Super Bowl. Well, he won a Super Bowl. It's one thing if he hadn't won the Super Bowl and he was desperate and he badly wanted to win it. Then you could say maybe I'd put up with a few of these other things. Other teams have the chance to win the Super Bowl, too. It's not just Buffalo. Now, I get it. There are very few warm weather climate teams right now that we feel strongly about as Super Bowl contenders. There's Miami, and I don't know how strongly we feel about Miami, but we certainly think they have a chance. The problem is they don't need another wide receiver. It's the last thing they need right now. They need another wide receiver about as much as I need to eat all of the cheese that I had shipped in from Wisconsin this week. But I'm gonna. They don't need that. That's not... frankly, I don't really know what the Dolphins... They could probably use a more consistent running back as they've ran through about 100 of them this season. But they don't need necessarily another wide receiver. And if you're Odell Beckham, I could certainly see a scenario where you could go be another dude in Miami, but I still think that you'd like to be more of a top target wherever you're going to go. I guess you could say the Chargers. It's a tricky one with the Chargers because how much do you really believe they're a Super Bowl contender? And I think most of us find it hard to believe. Now, part of the reason why we think that is because they haven't had their wide receivers. If they had had a healthy Keenan Allen, a healthy Mike Williams all season, might we think of them as more of a Super Bowl contender? I'm not sure. The 49ers is another weird one where it's not the same warm weather climate. It's more pleasant weather, but it's not warm weather climate in San Francisco. And is Jimmy Garoppolo, your quarterback, the thing that you've been dying to do? That's why Dallas keeps making sense to me. I can hear the argument for Nashville. I could absolutely hear the argument for Nashville. And I could see a scenario where you just say, look, there's an opportunity there. It's a nice place to be. But I think Dallas is the obvious one. Warm weather, indoor football, capable quarterback, team that has a legitimate shot. In a conference where I get that the Eagles are the favorite, but none of us think the Eagles are infallible as much as they're just the team that's raced out to a bunch of wins. Kansas City is obvious for football reasons, but it's cold in Kansas City. Like, if the weather matters, it's cold. What?
Yeah, I just looked it up because I didn't know how cold it was in Kansas City.
Yeah,
and
it's
right
cold.
now, it's 27 degrees.
Dude, it's cold in Kansas City. You don't think of Kansas City as being a cold weather climate. It sure as hell ain't a warm weather climate. It gets cold. It ain't Buffalo. It ain't Green Bay. Like, those are near the top of the list. Not that Chicago would be in play. And at this point, I don't even know if Green Bay's in play because it's wretched there. Cincinnati is another cold weather place, and
he'll probably just end up in Tampa Bay.
I guess, but they're not a Super Bowl contender at the moment.
Hell, he makes them that.
I don't think that's true.
They got Tom Brady.
I don't think that's true. And that's the problem with Baltimore is if Kansas City's cold, then Baltimore's cold too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I just don't know that I believe that it's happening. So I'm sort of asking the question to try to get a sense for how depressed you might be if he doesn't sign here, which I don't think he's going to. Do you genuinely, are you looking at this as Odell or bust? They have to have Odell Beckham or it's hopeless. And a couple of you are, and I kind of understand it, which is what your way of saying they've got a small margin for error to begin with. It's extraordinarily small right now. The end of the day, you can be a good football team, you can run the ball well, but you're not winning a Super Bowl with Devin Duvernay as your top wide receiver. Let's get to some of these responses. From Mount Wolf 9, no thanks. Team chemistry is good. He just doesn't want him at all. Team chemistry is good. Why bring in a washed-up wide receiver who will be begging for targets? I'm going to agree to disagree about the washed-up wide receiver thing. You guys, it's amazing how many people decided what Odell Beckham was to the point where they spit in the face of what Odell Beckham actually was when he got to the Rams last season. Because you saw the guy that you saw in Cleveland, you just decided it was over for Odell Beckham. And then you're just ignoring what happened when he was with the Rams, where he was extraordinarily helpful and played a massive role in them winning the Super Bowl a year ago. Ujiro. I'm truly on the fence about it. On one hand, we get a great offensive weapon that can make an impact. On the other hand, we win with what we got, which I feel we can do. Can you win a Super Bowl doing it? They keep coming back to that question specifically. I absolutely feel confident that the Ravens can do this, run the ball, line up Devin Duvernay and DeMarcus Robinson and Deshaun Jackson and other receivers whose name starts with duh. I don't know how many of them there are. DE receivers. Are there any other DE receivers that are out there on the market that we could get? I can't even think of any off the top of my head. Is Dennis Northcutt still playing football somewhere? What is he, 100 years old? Go call up Dennis Northcutt.
Oh, Deontay Harris.
Deontay Harris, the Baltimore native. Didn't he end up in a little bit of trouble?
Yeah, he did, but I think he's still with the Saints.
I don't think he is. I think he got I think whatever it was not good and might not be employed by anyone at this point. I'm not certain about that.
Suspended for a DUI.
I see what happened. He changed his name.
Oh,
he's Deontay Hardy. That's right.
That's why I didn't realize he was still with the Saints, is because when the Ravens played the Saints, I was looking for Baltimore connections on the roster, and I said, I guess Deontay Harris is gone. I did not. How come nobody told me that Deontay Harris changed his name? It's a very strange bit, but he's on IR, so
Okay.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the route. That's really weird that he changed. That's weird, right?
Oh, I looked it up. It's kind of wholesome. It was to honor his stepfather, so
Oh,
he changed it
damn
to his
All
stepfather.
right, now I feel like a jerk.
Yeah, sure.
Very sweet. Very sweet. Curly alum, Deontay Hardy. Hardy with a T. Deontay Hardy. No relation to J.J. Hardy with a D. That we know of. Maybe there is. That would be crazy if we found out that was the case. To win a Super Bowl. I believe they can win. Can they win a Super Bowl that way? Chris chimes in and says, yes, I absolutely believe this could end up being the difference in the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I'm not guaranteeing that it will, but I think right now, if you had to make me bet as to why the Ravens don't win the Super Bowl, it's because ultimately they end up needing to score 7 to 10 more points against a prolific offense, and having one more capable wide receiver on the field could prove to be the difference in that game. I think that's fair, Chris. I'm not telling you that I know it's the truth, but I think it's a fair way of looking at it. And from Dave, not a chance. Don't mess with what you got. It's working right now. I understand that they're not going to be the most prolific offense. By the way, I actually am going to push back on that. They're still a prolific offense. They're still one of the best scoring offenses in football. It's just not likely to come via the air. They might not be the most prolific offense, but they are winning. Yeah, I mean, I get that that's the argument. Continue to get me your responses. At Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter throughout the course of the day. You can always email me, glenn@pressboxonline.com. Do you believe that Odell Beckham could prove to be the difference in whether or not the Ravens can win the Super Bowl? And why? Like, it always drives me nuts when somebody responds to this and is like, no, and that's it. We're trying to have a conversation here. Why or why not is the question. And continue getting your responses throughout the day at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. Today's show is also brought to you by the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. It is the perfect ceramic home grill or tailgate grill for smoking, searing, baking, grilling, all kinds of food. You can save $100 right now when you use the code TAILGATE at ginsugrills.com to order your Ginsu Kamado Grill. And 1 week from this Sunday, November 20th, the Ravens will be back home taking on the Panthers. And you should stop by the Game Day Firehouse, 1202 Ridgely Street, just west of the stadium. Sample the cooking from the Ginsu Kamado Grill. Register to win your own, as well as $500 worth of grilling meats. Before the game, next Sunday, the Game Day Firehouse, that's the Firefighters Union Hall on Ridgely Street. Stop by and register to win your own Ginsu Kamado Grill. Joining us now here on GCR, he is an ESPN NFL insider, and this week they did a roundtable discussing various topics related to sort of the halfway point of the NFL season, and one of them was Odell Beckham, and he connected the Baltimore Ravens and Odell Beckham. He is a friend, Mr. Jeremy Fowler, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Jeremy, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, sir. Thank you for taking the time for us, as always.
Hey, no problem.
It's good to hear your voice, man. I want to get into this Odell Beckham thing. I want to take it from both sides. Let me start the Ravens side of this. Why does it make sense for the Ravens to be interested in Odell Beckham?
Well, it's really a matter of attrition. You have a guy like Rashad Bateman going out. It's not the kind of offense where a receiver tends to gravitate toward because it's tight end heavy. It's rushing heavy, and it doesn't need the existence of a top-flight receiver to survive. However, once you get deep into the playoffs or deep into the season, you need different looks and you need difference makers on the outside. So, this is a team where the receivers have probably played a little better than I thought. The supporting cast has been solid. So maybe the Ravens don't feel like they have to press there and go get somebody, but certainly he could elevate things.
I tend to agree with you about this. Let me go to the other side, and you kind of alluded to it there. But do the Ravens make sense for Odell Beckham?
Probably not, just considering he'll have a lot of options. The Cowboys, who have been implicated for Beckham, that offense is a little more wide open. a lot of 3 and 4 receiver sets where those guys are getting fed a pretty healthy number of targets. You're in a big market like Dallas. The Rams, if they can get things together, maybe get another win and feel like they're in contention, will always be a sleeper for Beckham. And then a team like the Chiefs is lurking. So I wouldn't say that they'd be high on the priority list. But certainly the way Lamar Jackson's playing and the respect that Baltimore commands as an organization and a team that's always going to be around the mix, that could be appealing.
Jeremy, the question that we're posing to listeners today is it possible that someone like Odell Beckham could be the difference in the Ravens' chances of winning a Super Bowl? You allude to kind of both sides of this, which is it's working, they're winning, they're playing an incredible, successful brand of football over the last couple of games where they've been dominating time of possession, 38 minutes per game against the Buccaneers and the Saints. But are they going to need, when they face Bills, Chiefs in the postseason, are they going to need to be able to score a few more points or do something like a shootout? Or is it actually smarter for them to just say, the hell with it, this is what we're doing. Either we're going to win a Super Bowl doing this or not. We've got who we've got.
Yes, but the truth is probably somewhere in between. I go back to, late in the season and in the playoffs, it can be about matchups. You need to have different ways to win. And flexibility within your offense a little bit, and to an extent, like you look at the Tennessee Titans, right? You know what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball with Derrick Henry,
right?
And they have a toughness identity where they can win a lot of games with that. Can you get to a Super Bowl with that? It's harder to decipher once you get into January. I don't necessarily think the Ravens have to have a receiver. It would be a nice luxury that they might end up needing in a certain game or in a certain moment when things tighten up and you just need somebody to go win down the field.
I'm inclined to agree with you. Jeremy Fowler is with us from ESPN here on GCR. Jeremy, as we referenced the way the Ravens have been playing over these last 2 games, we obviously have to point out the Buccaneers and the Saints have not exactly been world beaters this season. Of course, the rest of the Ravens' schedule isn't exactly world beaters the rest of the way, with the exception of the final game in Cincinnati. Do you look at what they've done the last 2 games and say, okay, they've gotten back on track, they've figured it out? Are you not concerned at all about what we saw in those sort of blown losses or blown leads and losses earlier on in the season?
No, I wouldn't say I'm concerned about that because really every team needs to go through some of that. You look at the Eagles right now; they're 8-0, which is great. But at some point, a loss or 2 can be good because you need to be battle tested. Some don't believe in that, but others do, and so I think that the way the season started for Baltimore, really, kind of forced them to create even more urgency, in the locker room and the ability to finish games, which they're now doing. So maybe that doesn't happen if they didn't have that early setback. So, now they can say, hey, look, we played 9 games and we've had a chance or should have won all of them.
Sure.
Which is a good sign and the foundation of a good team.
Only team in football to have had double-digit leads in every game this season, which is it'd be nicer, to your point, if they had won more of those. But, it's pretty remarkable. Jeremy, Roquan Smith was added into the mix on Monday and looked great. Is there a possibility that this Ravens defense is trending back towards maybe being what Justin Houston's doing is insane. I have no idea how to explain it. It's a revelation. If not for Geno Smith, it might be the best story in football this season. Is there a possibility that this Ravens defense is moving back towards the area where they're truly a dominant unit?
It's possibly. I'm not quite ready to go there yet just because, it wasn't long ago when they were really struggling last year, and part of that was injuries, of course. But, still want to see a little bit more out of the secondary. Even though Marlon Humphrey was brilliant there in the same game. They're getting some timely playmaking. It's interesting because I give them a lot of credit for the way they're playing, but when I looked in the preseason, when you look at their depth chart and their players, it's like, okay, I don't know if they have quite enough explosiveness to get it done. Now, you had Roquan that changes things, Justin Houston, the way he's playing. Calais Campbell's still been really productive at his age. So, I think they probably have more options than I thought, and I probably underestimated them a little bit. So, but we'll see if they can keep it up. You still worry a little bit just on the back end with, Marcus Peters always going to take gambles.
Right.
Hal Hamilton, the rookie, who's now really fast. Can some of that catch up to him a little bit?
Jeremy, when we talk about the AFC, we tend to discuss the Bills, the Chiefs, and sometimes the Ravens as well, depending on, of course, here we do, but I don't know if everybody in the country does. Is there another team that you think is being too dismissed in the AFC that used to, again, this time a year ago, none of us were looking at the Bengals and saying that's the team that's going to end up being in the Super Bowl? Is there another AFC team that you say, I don't know why, I feel like we should still be talking about them as a legitimate Super Bowl contender at this point?
Well, look at the Dolphins. I don't know if people are taking them seriously yet, and I don't know that Tua can keep this up forever, but, with what they have going on, with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the outside, and the Mike McDaniel system and Tua's accuracy, if their defense can do just enough, and they got Bradley Chubb on the edge now, to me, they're as much of a contender as anybody right now. Right up there with, I don't know, I'd probably take the Bills or Chiefs ahead of them right now, and maybe the Ravens, but I'd put Miami probably in that 4 hole in AFC right now. So, and really the Bengals too. It's interesting, the Bengals they always struggle against teams like the Browns. We saw them the other day, but then they come out and just pound the Panthers. If they can just hold on until Jamar Chase gets back, they should be in the mix somewhere.
I think that's fair. You bring up the Browns. It's interesting to me because everybody looks at the Ravens schedule and says, well, they're going to be favored in every game until you get to that final game at Cincinnati. And I keep bringing up that Cleveland game because I just don't know what the Browns are once Deshaun Watson starts playing. Like, I have so little thought as to what he's going to be capable of doing, so far removed from having last played football. I have no idea what to make of him. Is there maybe more of a chance that the Browns are a legitimate threat once Deshaun Watson is on the field?
It's really impossible to know how he's going to respond when he gets out there because it has been almost 2 years, So you have to reacclimate to football. That takes time. But certainly, there's a spot for him in kind of that group of top 10 quarterbacks. He's proven that. And we've seen some other quarterbacks around the league take a step back where this is a young guy with mobility and a great arm. There's no reason why he shouldn't come in and perform well, or at least be an upgrade to where they are now.
That's a great point.
So if they can just sort of hang on, get to that 12th game with a reasonable record, then you never know.
I'm gonna, we associate you. Obviously, you spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh. What is going on with the Steelers? Like, how do you make sense of a franchise that, I guess they think they've got their quarterback, and it hasn't been great so far, and Mike Tomlin's still there. Like, it really does sort of feel almost purgatory-ish at the moment with the Steelers, right?
Well, a little bit. It's a combination of things. The offensive line is still not very good. You have kind of a clumsy transition to Kenny Pickett. And, they just haven't been able to run the ball, so you're putting so much pressure on the quarterback when a young quarterback probably needs more support. And then the defense has been really beat up, so they just haven't been able to sustain their level of excellence. Now they're getting T.J. Watt and some of those guys back this week, so that will help. I still think they have a mini run in them. I don't know about the playoffs, but, Mike Tomlin's too good a coach for it to totally fall apart.
Yeah, we know that all too well, unfortunately, around these parts. We know it all too well. All right, Jeremy Fowler, what's next? Are you headed anywhere this week? What's on Jeremy Fowler's landscape at the moment?
I was at the Panthers game last night, so just headed home. Got to do some Sports Center stuff, and then just kind of monitoring what goes around the league this weekend. I'll be at home, so.
That's not a bad place to be. At Jay Fowler, ESPN is how you follow him. Jeremy Fowler, always appreciate taking the time for us, man. Thank you so much for doing this morning.
Hey, anytime. Thank you.
Jeremy Fowler, ESPN NFL Insider, checking in with us here on GCR. And I tend to agree. I just don't. Man, to me, it would be very cool if Odell Beckham was like, dude, I've heard everybody else talking about Baltimore and the experience that they've had, reads Kenyon Drake's tweet from the other day, which was downright emotional, talking about playing for this organization. It'd be super cool if Odell Beckham, read that and was like, dude, I want to know what that's like. I want a chance to go into that building and feel what that feels like. I'm telling you, if I were Odell Beckham, as much as everybody tells me that being in Baltimore is great and John Harbaugh is great and it's a great feel in the building, I'd say, yes, but it's also 20 degrees outside. I'm good. I don't need that. Now, I'm from here, so, I sign up for it. I know I'm the idiot that moved to Arizona and then moved home. I understand that I'm the example of the guy that chose this. But if I wasn't from here, there's no chance in hell. Come on, man. Where do you think I'm going to spend my December? It ain't going to be here where no one can breathe, where everybody's nose is running at all times, or just gross. No, we got Bo coming up. It's not that. I love Bordy. If he can do later, great. But if not, we'll get him. We'll tell him we'll talk to him next week. Sorry, we wanted to talk a little bit about Jordan Lyles and the Orioles, so we're going to see if Mike Bordick wanted to hop on for a minute this morning. But Mike's got things to do. He's got jobs. He's got people to see. I don't know. I'm just in a weird place. I'm in a. I wish that I thought that Odell Beckham could be viable. I just don't know that I believe it. It would be one of those I have to see it before I can believe it. It will stun me if Odell Beckham. Like Jeremy Fowler pointed out, I keep coming back to the Cowboys as being the absolute most logical place for Odell Beckham to choose to play. And I probably feel differently about that if he hadn't won a Super Bowl. If the Bengals had gone down and scored at the end of the game last year and the Bengals had won the Super Bowl, I would be more inclined to believe that Odell Beckham would be interested in the Bills or the Ravens. But having already done it, it's not something you need to do, but you can still be somewhere where you have a chance to do it, and your life's a bit more pleasant. It just seems like a no-brainer to me, man. It doesn't seem all that difficult of a choice. All right. Today's program also brought to you by Guilford Hall Brewery. My guy, John in Little Rock, was at Guilford Hall last night, hanging out, enjoying a Guilford Hall lager, the Bavarian-inspired menu. Always great events going on at Guilford Hall Brewery, whether it's Yappy Hour, whether it's live trivia or live music. They are just doing so many cool things at Guilford Hall Brewery, and it's such a gem within our city. 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North. GuilfordHall.com is the website for you to find out more. If you have not checked out Guilford Hall Brewery, truly encourage you to do that today. And speaking of our buddy John in Little Rock, I want to take a second here. Wish everyone a happy Veterans Day. Thank all of you from the bottom of our hearts for all of your service. Reminder, Veterans Day, you say Happy Veterans Day. Memorial Day, you don't say that. It's not a happy day. Veterans Day is a day to celebrate these folks and everything that they've done for us. So an extraordinarily happy Veterans Day and a major from the bottom of our heart thank you to all of you who have served our country. And if you missed Jaden Umbarger yesterday from Navy talking about why he chose to go to the Naval Academy, I would seriously. In fact, this show stinks. Go back and listen to that show. This show's terrible, wretched. Celebrate what in the world? What in the world? There's two of me.
Glenception.
What the hell's going on here?
I thought
That was my impression.
It's not bad.
My Glenn impression.
Not bad. Could use a little work. Flying off the handle for no reason.
Sometimes I just can't keep it in. I just
forgetting how your brain operates. There's a word I was trying to think of. Go with that. Yes, thank you all very much for your service. And Jaden Umbarger was unbelievable. Of course, Navy Notre Dame tomorrow in Baltimore. When we come back in, we will talk more about the Ravens, perhaps the chances of Odell Beckham, who's going to be back next week, what do things look like. We will discuss all of those things with our buddy Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer. We will do that next. It is a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Receive a free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich offer card as a thank you when you donate to Toys for Tots on Saturday, November 12th at any of the 13 Baltimore area Chick-fil-A Stuff the Truck event sites. Be one of the first 50 people to donate, and you will also get a free t-shirt. For a location list and more information, visit PressBoxOnline.com/toy drive.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, new Maryland basketball coach Kevin Willard sits down with Stan Charles and Glenn Clark to discuss the situation he inherited in College Park and how he plans to get the program turned around. Also, inside, we introduce you to men's and women's college basketball players from all of the teams in the area. And Bo Smolka profiles Ravens receiver Devin Duvernay. PressBox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Join Glenn at halftime of every Ravens game for the Project Game Day halftime show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. We apologize in advance. There's not much we can do about his face.
Oh, Mike, I need you to try to get some video of KZ eating the mayo mint apple jelly. I need to try to get that up on TikTok today. If we can't, I would appreciate that. Didn't hear back from KZ. We should probably text him to see how he's feeling. Send KZ a text. Just say, hey, man, how you feeling after yesterday? As KZ at one point didn't look great. Like at one point he stopped for a while, and I was a little nervous about old Gonzalez. But he did come in, pay off his bet yesterday as he consumed a mayo and mint apple jelly sandwich with a healthy amount of both mayo and mint apple jelly on it. And the funny part is he's very excited about losing next week. So he can come in here and do the chili cinnamon roll thing that apparently they love in the Plains, and it makes no damn sense to me whatsoever. But appreciate KZ coming in and doing that. Would like an update. Would like to know how it is that he is feeling after that experience, which seemed, in a word, unpleasant. Unpleasant is how it seemed to me. All right, a reminder, Stan the Fan had two great shows for you this week. On Monday, he and Ross Grimsley caught up with Dave Tremblay, former Orioles manager. You can find that right now, as well as a show he did with Mr. Baltimore Sports Collectibles himself, Danny Black. Both shows are available, and all of those shows right now, and enjoy Stan the Fan talking baseball and talking sports collectibles this week on Facebook Live. From Brian, don't think Odell Beckham will be the difference in the Super Bowl or not. Our offense is not pass first, and he might start complaining about targets. Dance with the girl you brought to the dance. I mean, I know what you think you're saying, and I do. I understand what you think you're saying. But you also intended to bring Rashad Bateman to the dance. And Rashad Bateman's not there. So this isn't the girl, right? This is like, hey, I know you were planning on taking Melanie to the dance, but she's unavailable. Would you like to take her weird cousin Dora? And that's unfair because I don't want to say weird. Would you like to take her cousin Dora? And you're like, well, is she pretty? Like, is she nice?
No.
Well, then I'm not sure that I want to take Dora to the dance. Maybe I could call somebody else and see if I could take them to the dance. Like, you understand what I'm trying to say about this? Like, I would maybe understand this a bit more if Rashad Bateman hadn't gotten hurt. I could understand the argument for saying, because I've always been the person that even when Rashad Bateman was healthy, I thought the Ravens could use another wide receiver. But I would understand the argument from those that are opposed a bit more if Rashad Bateman was healthy and had kept playing well to this point in the season. Hey, don't rock the boat. You got your guy. Let's just ride with this. But I think all of us know, as much as we like Devin Duvernay, as much as we've seen from Devin Duvernay, this isn't really enough. Now, again, we keep coming back to, but can it be enough if you can run the ball in a dominant fashion and you can play a dominant level of defense? And to that answer, maybe. Maybe it can be enough. But I don't really understand the pushback. I don't think Odell Beckham would be coming to Baltimore thinking that he would be guaranteed a certain number of targets per game. Like, if he's coming here, I don't think the Ravens walk in and say, dude, we're going to start, we're opening things up now that you're here. You're here, throwing 50 times a game, man. You see Patrick Mahomes throw the ball 68 times last week? It's going to be nothing compared to what we're doing. Triple digits, baby! That's what the Ravens offense is going to be now that it's quite silly. You would presume that if Odell Beckham came here, it's because the Ravens had a conversation with him, said, look, we do what we do, but we need somebody that's a bit more reliable, that we can count on, that can win a few more one-on-one matchups. We believe that you can be that guy. If that's something you'd be interested in, let's talk. And if Odell Beckham said, nah, man, I need to get the ball 15 times a game, then the Ravens would say, that's okay, we don't do that here. That's not how things work. And that's where the conversation would end. So that part of it, I think he's going to be unhappy.
I'm good.
Griffin, make sure you turn off your mic when you make the phone call. It's okay. Life will go on. I'm sure, although everybody probably enjoys the pleasantries that you're exchanging with Bo Smolka.
It was a preview.
Right.
A Bo Smolka trailer.
Get to hear behind the scenes on this show. This is one of the, we do have to work on when the mics are on and when the mics are off. It's something that we'll have a test on that later, see how that goes. Let's welcome in PressBox Ravens beat writer Bo Smolka, who is with us here on a Friday edition of the program, as he is throughout the season. Bo, good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning to you.
A lot of conversation in Ravens circles about Odell Beckham. I continue to say I think Odell Beckham would make sense for the Baltimore Ravens. I just don't think that the Baltimore Ravens will make sense for Odell Beckham.
I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, I think Odell Beckham, if he wants to go around and find a place where they're going to chuck the ball 40 or 50 times a game, then he needs to be looking somewhere else. That's not what the Ravens want to do or be. But the Ravens are certainly feeling a little shorthanded at the receiver position. But you're right. I mean, it's got, as John Harbaugh likes to say, it takes two to tango. And I don't know. I mean, again, if you're Odell Beckham, you're looking for a place there's going to be a lot of targets thrown your way. And I don't see that happening here.
Based now, we asked this question of you last week, Bo, after what we saw in the second half against Tampa. But now we've got 2 games of it. Getting Mark Andrews back, to me, I can't fathom that changes the straight. They've held the ball for 38 minutes a game for their last 2 games. It's been dominant. I have to imagine this is a recalibration. This is the Ravens remembering who they are. This is what they're going to attempt to be for the rest of the season, right?
It should be, because it works. Yes, I think it is who they want to be. And I know John Harbaugh and others will say, we want to be a balanced offense. We want to be they obviously have to be able to have some sort of passing game threat. But even when these teams are putting 8 guys up in the box and they're having 1 wide receiver out and they're not even pretending they're going to throw, they're still able to run the ball. And a lot of that goes to and they didn't have Dobbins or Edwards for most of this time. Edwards got hurt, obviously, in the game at Tampa, but it goes to a really kind of, I think, improving rapidly offensive line. Ronnie Stanley is looking back to form. Tyler Linderbaum is really looking like a first-round draft pick. Zeitler's been steady. Morgan Moses has been steady. Ben Powers has been steady. So that's the heart of it. Once they can do that, and you've got Patrick Ricard blocking in front of these guys, Kenyon Drake suddenly is looking like a legitimate running back that he didn't look like in the first couple of games. And remember, they ended up making him the inactive when Dobbins came back. And then he carried 24 times. That's the most carries by any Ravens running back since 2015. I mean, they generally are not going to be a one-back offense, and I think they won't be when they get Edwards back, and maybe whenever Dobbins comes back. This is who they are. This is how they built their roster. They chose not to draft a wide receiver. They chose not to sign a marquee wide receiver. They didn't have to trade for a wide receiver. And this is who they are. And I know maybe there are people who are going to say, well, Lamar Jackson's not throwing enough to get the big contract. His contract is always looming over everything. But this is who they are. This is who they want to be. And it's where they're most successful. I think it's very fair to question, can they be something other than that? If they somehow were to fall behind by 17 points against someone, they need to score 3 quick scores in the fourth quarter. Can they do it through the air? Because I wrote something this morning for PressBox Online about 5 questions for the second half of the season, and that's number 1. Can this team win through the air if they have to? Well, and I think it's a question they don't know the answer to.
Bo, that was essentially what my column was about this week, right, at PressBoxOnline.com, which is it's the subtext to all of this. What we don't know, and there's no way to have an answer. We're just asking it because it lingers. They haven't had a lot of playoff success. They lost games, some of the better teams they faced this year. The question keeps coming back to, as well as this might work, is it going to be enough to beat the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Dolphins, the types of teams that you're going to face in the AFC playoffs? And I asked the question acknowledging and I wrote the column acknowledging there's no possible way to know. I still think they're better off trying it this way than doing some of the other things they were doing at the beginning of the year. Like, if you're going to have Greg Roman and no wide receivers, then I would probably run a Greg Roman offense and take a shot at it that way. I don't know why I would do something else, but there's no way for us to know yet if that will be enough to beat the best teams that you're going to face should you get to the playoffs.
No, there isn't. And obviously their offense has changed somewhat because now they've lost Rashad Bateman, who, in the first couple of games, he really flashed a couple of big plays. And they're hoping Deshaun Jackson might be able to bring some of that. But at his age, it's unlikely to. We don't know what he can bring at this age. But they need some way to be able to open up that if they need to. I will say their defense looks significantly better than it did early in the season. I mean, the defensive backfield looks better, and they don't even have Marcus Williams back yet, and their pass rush is really rounding into form. So both of those things bode well for them against any of these so-called good teams they might match up with in the playoffs. But you're right. I mean, we will never know until it happens, but this is who they want to be. There's no question about it.
He is PressBox Ravens beat writer Bo Smolka. He's with us here on GCR. Bo, the timetable, right? The time frame for Gus Edwards and Mark Andrews specifically, I think, there was a lot of hope that it was just going to be, have him sit out for the New Orleans game, give him the bye, everything should be good. Is there any reason not to think that will be the case on the other side of the bye?
Not that I've heard. I mean, and Edwards, they describe as a mild hamstring. With Edwards, you got to worry just because his leg was really messed up last year, and then come back and have a hamstring injury. But they do have effectively 2 weeks off. Andrews, I'm not expecting it to be a long-term thing with him. I mean, he's tough and he wants to be out there, and I think they were wise to not play him. And I don't know if it was even a question, but they had said all along the bye week and the schedule of the bye week and around the bye week and the 2 short games before that, all of that factored in how they utilize certain players. But it was a tricky time of year, but now they get the benefit of just this 21 days or whatever with 1 game. So coming out of the bye week, they do have an extra week to rest those guys. I'm not expecting either of them to be long-term situations. Obviously, if Andrews were to be then that changes a lot with this team because he's so much of what they want to do on offense. But we saw they were able to win without him, which was also encouraging.
Bo, you brought up the defense, and I couldn't agree more. It's looked incredible and by the way, could Roquan Smith have looked any better in a short, getting here quickly and getting thrown into the wolves, and that's the reason why they were willing to pay a big price to get Roquan Smith, because he's that good. But the revelation in all of this is Justin Houston. I mean, this is insane. Like, this is outside of Geno Smith, this is maybe the best story in football this season. How do you explain what has gone on with Justin Houston now at 8.5 sacks through just 6 games this season?
I mean, it's quite amazing, and it's 6.5 sacks in the last 3 games. I mean, part of it is they've been able to ration him a little more, and he's not worn down like he was in those first couple of games. Now, the Saints game, he played more than he had in the others. He had those 3 games off with his groin injury. And I'd have to go back and watch all 6.5, all the sacks, which I have not done on the All-22 or anything, see what's creating the chances for him. But part of it, obviously, is himself. He's playing like a younger, quicker guy. And so much credit to him. And he now, I mean, he had said he contemplated retiring. But now, I mean, there's no question teams coming up on this schedule have to really, really factor for him. So what does that mean for Odafe Owe or any other people, that Tyus Bowser or Ajabo whenever he comes back? I mean, not that you weren't factoring for Houston, but it's going to make everybody better. And I think everyone is going to be able to rotate more and stay fresher. And as the game wears on, that's going to be their benefit. But Houston's been remarkable. There's no question about it. And he's 33 years old. He gets a groin pull after playing a lot the first 2 weeks, and you're thinking, like, this could be the potential for a difficult season, because who knows when he'll come back from that and how much that will linger. He's just been unbelievable for the last 3 games, and playing, like I said, 10 years younger.
I know it's difficult because we were probably just going to default to Lamar, but I feel like if you guys passed out team MVP ballots right now at the midway point, I'd be inclined to write Justin Houston's name down at the moment as team MVP.
He'd be on the short list for sure. I mean, it is tricky, right? Because Lamar Jackson, where's the team without Lamar Jackson? Right. We don't know, but we can assume it wouldn't be where it is. Hard to say, but he's certainly up there with one of the very few. I mean, he's been an absolute stud for the last month, and can he keep it up at this age? We'll see. But like I said, this group is getting better and deeper as the year goes on, and that's kind of what they knew would happen. They knew they'd be getting Bowser and Ajabo back at some point, and so they kind of took the long view all along with that. We kind of scoffed at the beginning of the year. They broke camp with 2 healthy outside linebackers, and it looked really bleak. And then Justin Houston gets hurt, and you're thinking, where's this pass rush going to come from? And I will say also, Mike McDonald, I think, has done a good job in terms of timing some of these defensive backfield blitzes. And so, like, Kyle Hamilton gets there, or Marlon Humphrey gets there. And they're not doing a lot, but they're getting there sometimes when they do. And I think that's also made everybody on that pass rush better. So I give them all a lot of credit, but I think they viewed all along that this pass rush should ascend as the season goes on, and it clearly is.
Bo, give me the biggest storyline for you of the second half of the season. What is the most significant storyline as far as the Ravens in the context of their push to try to win a Super Bowl?
Well, I think it's what we talked about. The number one question to me, and we don't know when we'll ever have to find that answer out. The number one question to me is, can they win when they have to pass? Because honestly, Lamar Jackson has not been a great passer this year. He has missed several open receivers on big play potential, and those are plays when the margin is small have to be made. And they haven't been made so far, and overall, it hasn't cost them. And we don't know. With the schedule they have, the division is theirs to lose.
Right.
Quite frankly, they have a 1-game lead. Cincinnati's already got 3 division losses. So even if they were to split at the end of the season, there's a good chance the Ravens would hold the divisional tiebreaker. The Ravens, their division, it's there to lose for them. So if they were to not win the division, something went horribly wrong at this point, I think. But when the margins are tough, when the competition's tough, can Lamar Jackson win passing the ball? And like you say, we don't know that. and we don't know when he'll have to figure it out. And maybe he will, and I'll give him a lot of credit. He's a super, super competitive guy, and it's, doubt Jackson at your peril kind of thing.
Sure.
He just usually finds a way.
Sure.
But I think that's still an absolutely looming question over this team, particularly after the injury to Bateman.
Bo, I'll add in a second thought to that is, like, it's also not impossible that they won't, right? Like, and I do bring that up, it's not impossible that doing what they do, that they might just be able to dictate pace against even the good teams that they play. Even when they weren't as sharp earlier, they were dictating pace early on against the Bills in that game, right? And I think your point is well taken. I just always try to throw in the other side of it, which is it possible that they can just be the aggressors? They can be the team that says, you're going to have to play the way that we play, even when they face better teams and better quarterbacks in the postseason.
They could. I mean, let's face it. They should have beaten the Bills. They should have beaten them.
Right.
If they convert a fourth down earlier, or if they don't throw, even if they don't throw the interception, they might win that game. And the Bills have to start at the 2 instead of at the 20. So they did dictate what they wanted to do in large stretches of that game. And they obviously should have beaten Miami. They should have beaten good teams. So, yeah, they might be able to do it that way. They absolutely might be able to do it that way. And so maybe we'll never need to know the answer to that. But it's a very interesting dynamic, because they clearly constructed the roster this way by choice, right? They didn't draft a wide receiver. They didn't sign a big-time wide receiver when they could have. They didn't trade for a wide receiver even after they knew Bateman was hurt. This is who they are, and this is what they're going to ride with.
In the new print issue of PressBox, Bo Smolka wrote about emerging Ravens offensive star Devin Duvernay. You can go find that right now for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox, and read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. Any other plans for, with no game to cover this weekend, any other plans for what we might be seeing at PressBoxOnline.com, Bo?
I'll tell you my plans. I'm going to Navy Notre Dame game tomorrow.
Very cool.
So that's
Very
my plan.
Cool. That's not a bad way to spend a Saturday.
I used to work at Navy, and my son is at Notre Dame.
Yep.
So I'm a bit conflicted, but we're going to cheer for the Irish. But it's a great game every year, so we will be there.
All right. Well, and I'm glad that it's in Baltimore, and it'll be an amazing atmosphere. And I will not be cheering for the Irish. Actually, I have to work tomorrow, so I can't make it. But look, I've been excited about it all week. We had DJ Brown, Notre Dame safety, is an Annapolis native. He was on the show earlier in the week, and he was wonderful. And just great thing for our city. At B Smolka on Twitter is how you follow him. Bo Smolka, appreciate you as always, my friend. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you next Friday, all right?
All right, thank you. Take care.
It's Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, joining us here on GCR. All right, hour number 1 of today's program is in the book. Still to come today, we're going to chat with Tim Brando, Timmy B from Fox. He's going to be on the call for Maryland-Penn State tomorrow up in State College. And we'll get a little Young Yutes. Micah will let us know what's going on in the world of the young this week. That is all on the way in hour number 2 of Glenn Clark Radio. Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, new Maryland basketball coach Kevin Willard sits down with Stan Charles and Glenn Clark to discuss the situation he inherited in College Park and how he plans to get the program turned around. Also, inside, we introduce you to men's and women's college basketball players from all of the teams in the area. And Bo Smolka profiles Ravens receiver Devin Duvernay. PressBox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Another Orioles season is in the books, and the bat-around was there every step of the way as the Birds posted their first winning season in 6 years. And after promoting 2 #1 overall prospects in Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, Mike Elias has said it's liftoff from here. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, and along with my co-host Zach Goodman, we'll be here every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon all off season, discussing every signing, trade, and waiver claim as we navigate the cold winter months that lead to spring training. You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or listen live at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. And if you miss a show, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. So tune into the Bat Around with Paul Valley and Zach Goodman every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
If you can't listen or watch live, you can subscribe to the show via Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review while you're there. Or, if lying isn't your thing, we'll take a 3.5-star review too.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue into hour number 2 of the program. A couple more responses that have come in to our think tank question from...
We got breaking news over here.
Oh, excuse me?
Yeah.
Wait,
KZ,
what?
KZ said that he is
Oh.
all good.
You really should have sold that better.
What?
Like, when you said it was breaking news, you really should have, like, followed that up. Like, this is huge.
Okay.
Like, you really... Like, really overselling that moment.
This is unreal.
I'm glad you got an update from Ken Zales. Don't get me wrong. Like, I want the update from Ken Zales, but I just feel like when you decided that you were going to go the route of saying it was breaking news, you could have sold more. We're still working. You're young yet. You got a long way to go.
I'll add some to the soundboard next time, and I'll have a sign.
I just feel like, or you could have used some deception. Like, you could have like gotten me to believe that you were actually reading a
You're
tweet.
not going to believe what he said.
Like, you could have turned and said, I mean, we really got to think about this now moving forward. Like, you could have just used deception to then turn around and been like, Ken Zales, farted after this yesterday, or whatever it is that you're about to say. I'm not sure.
He said he's all good. It didn't sit well for a bit, but he is.
Well, I can't imagine it would sit well. Now, did you took everything home with you, correct?
No, I left the mayo. I left actually them both here. There's no bread here, but they're.
Why?
Because I don't want it.
Okay, but we don't want it here either. It's just going to grow mold.
What if something comes up and
we need mint apple jelly? Like, does anybody have an emergency mint apple jelly can?
I mean, I don't want
Griffin's
it.
like,
I don't want it home either.
I don't want it home either. Get rid of it.
Right.
Like, don't bring Micah back.
My bad, Micah.
He left the mayo just open under the table, so
right.
that eventually we'd realize.
God, like I left it here for what purpose? You planning on Monday? Maybe get a little hungry. You're like, I could use a snack.
We do a lot of mayo things, so I mean,
true.
I mean, we've done a couple of mayo things. I guess if you want to leave the mayo here, I don't know, man. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
It'll add to the challenge if the mayo's been sitting for weeks for the next mayo sandwich.
Proctor says, keep your mint apple jelly refrigerated after opening. That is important, I guess. I raced home with that Chick-fil-A sauce the other day they brought to me. My son last night was like, can I have some of that? I said, no! No, it's mine! Did they bring you Chick-fil-A sauce? No! They said it was for Glenn Clark, not for Graham Clark, stupid. That's what I said to him.
What you said to him?
He was like, well, I've got these nuggets. I could just really go for some Chick-fil-A sauce. I'm like, you'll use ketchup and you'll like it, jerk. Then I told him I slept with his mom.
Just burying Graham Clark.
I was like, you suck. I totally slept with your mom.
The roast of Graham Clark.
It was great. It was a great day.
Probably deserved it.
Oh, he definitely deserved it. He's a jerk. Got a big power dinner on Sunday night, by the way. The Clarks, the Proctors, and the Gatsbys all getting together for dinner on Sunday night.
The Gatsbys.
Big,
the great one.
You guys don't. Oh, I always forget that you haven't been around for very long. The Gatsbys have been recurring characters on the program over the years.
Gotcha.
I referenced years ago that we have friends that have a pool and a boat, and when I brought that up the first time, Kyle was like, "What are they, Gatsbys?" So we've just
sounds
gone.
like it.
We've gone with the Gatsbys forever to describe that. So yeah, we're all getting together for dinner on Sunday night. The big bye-week dinner on Sunday night. We're going to the old Japanese steakhouse because
Gatsby's are renting out the whole steakhouse.
They could. I mean, they're not that. They're not really wealthy. I want to make that abundantly clear.
Yeah,
they're fine. They're doing fine. They have a pool and a boat. Like, they're doing fine, but they're not wealthy.
That's crazy because me and Griffin are available, and
Oh yeah,
We were
I was
looking
totally
for,
thinking about asking you.
we were
but
looking
then
for something to do.
The thing is, the Gatsbys are very clear.
Could have gone for Japanese steak.
Very
but-
clear about not having that. I'm actually a little bit. I feel like there could be pandemonium. Like the Japanese steakhouse is always a 10. Always a 10. I don't care how hack it makes you. The Japanese steakhouse is a 10.
Without a doubt.
10 and a half. Every time they do all the dumb bits, you're like,
hibachi.
oh my! When the guy's like, I'm gonna make the volcano. You're
Yeah.
like, hell yeah! It's like I've seen Jimmy's Chicken Shack 100 times in my life, but every time they do right, I'm singing along. Every time I go to that damn Japanese steakhouse,
And they say egg roll, and they just spin the egg.
100%. I'm wilding out, man. Nothing lives up to it every time. Nothing delivers consistently.
Just wearing a bib, waiting for them to start throwing
Start throwing in my mouth every time.
I love the one where they have like I guess it's supposed to be soy sauce or something, and like squirt it at somebody.
100%, man.
String.
All of the bits. I can't wait for all of them. And I took the kids back in the spring. I want to say we took the kids for the first time, and the kids, of course, is the first time they've seen it, were panicked. I, who have seen it 100 times, was also panicked because it's great. Nothing better than a trip to the Japanese steakhouse. So yeah, we're taking the Proctors have 2 kids that have not yet been to the Japanese steakhouse. The Gatsbys have 2 kids. One a little bit too young to fully understand it, but yeah, we're gonna have a nice power dinner on Sunday night. The Proctors, the Gatsbys, and the Clarks all getting together for dinner. I'm looking forward to that. All right. Oh, you know who else delivers? I've said this before. The two basic concepts that always deliver: the Japanese steakhouse and your neighborhood piano bar. I'm telling you, those 2 concepts, no matter what, you're always going to have a good time. That's the other thing about the Japanese steakhouse. The food's also good afterwards. Like, it's not the greatest food you're ever going to have in your life, but it's always good. You always walk away like, well, that was a good meal. I enjoyed that. Every layer of it. Piano bar, same thing. You're always going to go in there. You're going to yell out the expletive-laden lines that aren't in the song. Like, you're going to do all that. You're going to sing along to Sweet Caroline. You're going to have a great time. Piano bar, Japanese steakhouse. Always deliver. Always, always, always work. And the next Tyus Bowser show will be next Tuesday night. We will be at Mother's North Grill in Timonium, and we'd like to have you come join us. Tyus and a special guest will be there. Oh, I thought I was about to burp there for a second. That was going to be
You
awkward.
looked scared.
I don't know what was about to happen. Tyus Bowser shows a partnership with PressBox and Grade 8's memorabilia. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Find out more by going to PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser. No, Proctor, unfortunately, they closed the piano bar that was in town. It was a good one, too, Howl at the Moon, but it's no longer there. But we still got a Japanese steakhouse or 2, and we're going there, baby. That's the way it's going to go. All right, let's switch gears. Look, man, I haven't talked quite as much about the Maryland-Penn State game this week because after my trip out to Madison last week, I got to be honest with you, it was a bit of a gut punch. But Maryland will try to shake it off and get a big win. I feel like that's significant to try to record one of these wins this season. They're at Penn State tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 on Fox. The man who will be on the call, one of my absolute favorites, he is the great Timmy B. Tim Brando, back with us now here on GCR. Timmy B, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's always great to catch up with you, sir. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Same to you, Glenn, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be an important game for both teams, and at this time of the year in November, you want to be involved in games that people remember. And let me just say this. I know the Wisconsin game was a bit of a gut punch, but remember, they were coming off an open date too, and they've got a young coach that they're inspired to help keep the job permanently. So there was a little bit of an edge, and certainly being at Camp Randall makes it tough. This is a difficult stretch for any young team that's emerging, and I think Coach Locke is in charge of a young team that's emerging. And look, another difficult test against a quality defense.
Well, and Tim,
you know.
I sat out in the crowd. My wife and I sat out in the stands last week, and we couldn't figure out why we could get 15th row tickets at Camp Randall Stadium for $20. It was amazing because we didn't look at the weather ahead of time. It was miserable. Tim, I think what you bring up, Maryland's story is probably not going to be all that drastically different, if they beat Penn State on Saturday, as far as what the results of the season will be. But I think more for showing the progress. They're they're bowl eligible already. There's going to be back-to-back bowl games for Maryland. They'll probably beat Rutgers, so they'll probably at least get 7 wins. But I think for showing the signs of progress, that this isn't just, Maryland's capable of winning 6-7 games. That's all they'll ever be able to do. I think for showing signs to a fan base of we are still taking steps forward, winning a game against a prominent Big Ten team would go a really long way for Mike Locksley.
No question. And 8-4 just sounds a lot better than 7-5.
That's a great point.
I mean, let's be clear. And the Nittany Lions are number 14 in the country. And the large reason that they are that is because of brand name, but also they can back it up with quality play themselves this season. They gave away that Ohio State game. If you look at that game closely, and I did in preparation for this week, for 35 to 40 minutes of that game, they were in control. And as it started to slip in the early stages of the fourth quarter, a lot of kind of crazy things happened. Now, Ohio State helped force those things. But Penn State's good. I mean, they're really good. And I think athletically, they are getting the kind of talent, not the same numbers of the talent, but the kind of talent that Ohio State generally gets. I would argue maybe from a defensive standpoint, they're on par with the kind of talent that they get, not quite on the same level on the offensive side of the ball. Maryland has great skilled people.
Yep.
And the receiving core is outstanding. And if Talia Tagovailoa gets the time, he can burn anybody. I mean, he can. The question will be, can the offensive line hold up against a defensive front and a linebacking core that's really outstanding for Penn State? Weather could be an issue as well. We were thinking that the cold and the rain would come in tonight. The prior forecast was for that. Now they're showing remnants of the rain lingering maybe into tomorrow. I think they need a fast track. I think Maryland wants this weather to get out, even if it's cold, because it's supposed to get much colder after the rain gets through here. I think the high is going to be 52 or 3. The low is going to be 31 or 2, and the game will be ending at dark. So, we'll see. I think the level of play in terms of dynamic and explosive plays needs to be there for Maryland. You don't need to have great, outstanding, long drives to win this game. You just need more explosive plays, and by that I mean more 20-plus yard plays, whether it's in the run game or the pass game. And I think, with Raheem and with Demas on either side, and Jones, and really the tight ends have been very good. I'm very impressed with the tight ends that have been utilized this year by Dan Enos. So I think that the game has a chance to be a classic. I really do, because Penn State is going to try to ball control and win with its defense. Maryland needs its contrasting styles. They need dynamic plays and opportunities. Be opportunistic on the defensive side.
He is Tim Brando. He's on the call tomorrow, 3:30 on Fox for Maryland-Penn State. Tim, I agree with everything you said, and it really, that was the glaring thing to me about last week, is that when Maryland wasn't able to throw the ball early on, it's not like Maryland can't run. They've run the ball. Success. I mean, my gosh, one of the best freshmen in the country this season, right?
Yeah.
Like they've run the ball well, but I just, the difference up front, the difference when you become, one-dimensional offensively, was kind of glaring. And this is one of the better Maryland offensive lines we've seen, but there's still quite a difference between a Maryland offensive line and what they're lining up at Wisconsin, or even what they're lining up at Penn State. For as good as the skill position players are, that still seems to be the biggest disparity between Maryland and the rest of the Big Ten at the moment.
Right. Coach Locke knew that when he got there. He has improved it, yes, but it's harder. now than it used to be, in large measure because of the portal. I think that's one of the ways, frankly, that he needs to look from a recruiting standpoint, because that's the hardest position to find in the portal, okay, is offensive linemen. Really, the great programs have them, and the mediocre programs don't seem to have as many. They may have some, but they don't have as many. So, he's a great recruiter. The staff, I think, does an excellent job in that area too. And where you're situated geographically, you're going to get that talent. Mike is going to get that talent, but he's got to be able to augment it with the offensive line. I don't know how you do that. I'm not in the business of recruiting, but I think that's the one area that still needs to be addressed aggressively. And I look forward. We'll be chatting with him later this afternoon. And by the way, that's another great thing about him, access. A lot of times when we get road teams, we're Zooming with them on a Wednesday or a Tuesday. Frankly, it's always my preference, and Spencer's too, to speak with them in person on Friday, the night before the game. That's when you get the latest information. That's when they can give you a sense of perspective on the week. And as soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm headed over to Beaver Stadium. We're going to be visiting with James Franklin there and with his staff and going to their last walkthrough. And then we'll head over just a mile or so away to the Maryland hotel and spend time with both the coaches and a couple of players. He gets it. I'm a Michael Locksley fan. I don't root for teams, but I do root for individuals, and I think his heart's in the right place. I think he wants to make young people better, and he wants to make Maryland a memorable program again, and I think he's on his way.
By the way, that's where I was going next. So you kind of answered the question, Tim. Like, whatever happens these next couple of weeks, whether they can pick, and Ohio State might be, way too much of a mountain to ask them to climb. I mean, Ohio State's a monster, right? But whatever happens,
have not played well. Ohio State has not played well.
That's fair. That's fair. Yep.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you look at Michigan and Ohio State and their performances against Penn State, okay, Michigan handled Penn State. Ohio State was gifted that W, okay?
It's true.
The Buckeyes they've got the best personnel. They have been hit a lot with injuries, so it's a good thing they've got a lot of personnel. But, listen, it's a crazy year, man. You can capture lightning in a bottle. I mean, we've seen that all across the college football landscape. But go ahead.
No, I mean, Alabama's never looked vulnerable in my memory. Like, I can't remember a time where it happened, and here we are. No, I just, to what you were just saying, whatever happens these next couple of weeks, I am absolutely still a believer that Mike Locksley is the guy and everything you can ask for a Maryland football coach. It comes back to the practicality of the situation, the difficulty of the job, that even though I think he's doing about as good a job as he can do, I don't know what he was thinking going for it on 4th and 8 last week early in the game when they couldn't throw the ball. Like, I got some questions about that. But outside of things like that, I'm still very much the believer that there is no one that could be better for the task than Mike Locksley. I mean, that would be willing. I mean, I take that back. It'd be great if Nick Saban wanted the task, but that would be willing to do the job. I don't think there's a person that's better for the task than Mike Locksley is, and I think we've seen enough of that the last couple of years to understand why Maryland was fortunate that he wanted this job.
Yeah, and not only does he want it, he sees it and views it as his destination. Okay, I think a lot of times at programs like Maryland, okay, you find a lot of times coaches are using it to propel themselves to go elsewhere. Mike doesn't see it that way. This is home. This is a place that's near and dear to his heart, and the players all identify with him. A lot of coaches are really comfortable fits in certain places, but I'm here to tell you, the way Nick Saban goes about it is something you can accomplish a hell of a lot more easily at places like LSU and Alabama than you ever could at places like Maryland. Mike is a guy that just really fits in with what they have to do, what the culture of the program and the geographical area you're in is all about. And I think that's tantamount to some success that can be long-lasting there. What his record is 19-26 coming into this game. Remember where the program was when he got there.
Yep.
And to deal with, sometimes when coaches find out, gosh, this was worse than I thought, panic, sets in. That's not happened here. It's been nothing but full speed ahead, and let's just get better, address where the problems are, and keep going for and getting as many of the top shelf recruits at the skill spots as we can possibly get. And these guys are all going to play on Sundays, the majority of them at the skill spots, and they're going to be touting Maryland for the future, and that's going to help them long-term in recruiting. I see Maryland right now, when you look at the Big Ten Conference and you're saying, okay, who from the middle ground or the lower tiers has begun to make a move to say, okay, we're here and we are getting better. Look around, okay? In the Big Ten West, everyone thought Minnesota was going to have a great year. Hasn't happened. Iowa maybe has the worst offense that we've seen in the Big Ten in a long time. They've been a perennial team that had impact. Wisconsin struggled so much so that they made a decision to fire a successful coach 4 games into the year. When I look at Maryland, I see the foundation laid, and I see progress in its future. So I'm with you right there. Now you're in the East where it's tougher, okay, but that's only going to make you better once you get there.
Well, and it does look like we're getting to a place where it's, we're not going to do divisions any longer, and that will be a very good thing. That will be a very good thing for Maryland.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I do think with the additions coming into the Big Ten and the changes that have been made with the alignment of college football, it's going to help balance things out in a very large way. The future is bright for college football, but it's also bright for Maryland.
Hey, Tim, before I let you go, what we saw last week with Georgia, was that them re-announce? You talk about how crazy of a season it's been, but was that an announcement of, yeah, but we still know definitively who the team is to beat? Or do you think that they might be more vulnerable than they appeared to be against Tennessee on Saturday?
Yeah, don't read too much into that. They've been very fortunate not to have injuries. Alabama is in some measure where they are because they've had quite a few injuries to overcome, and they're not as deep as they once were. Their secondary has just been a hot mess, and that's where Saban, specializes. And when you've got a lot of young guys, plus you have injuries to go with that, that's problematic. His offensive line isn't what it once was at Alabama. Well, Georgia's got better personnel than Alabama in its first 22. But when you get to that second wave, you get to the depth chart gets to number 2 and number 3, which historically the great teams have. Ohio State has that right now. That's why they're still winning when they haven't played a compelling game or beaten a team that just jumps off the charts at you. Okay, they have not had a magical win yet this year. That's not their fault because some of the teams that they have played are Big Ten teams, but they're teams that have not performed as well as they have in past years. And that includes, other than Penn State, I would say that's probably their best win, the road win against Penn State. But as I said, I think it was a gifted victory with turnovers in the last 10 minutes of the game. Georgia is just lucky that they have stayed as healthy as they have, and that this game with Tennessee was played between the hedges. Georgia's fallible. Everybody's got warts. I would not be at all surprised if Georgia gets knocked off in the SEC championship game, even if that team playing them happens to be LSU or Ole Miss. And I do think it will be LSU.
Wow.
I think LSU is on a mission here. If they can get past upset alert time with an 11 a.m. kick in Fayetteville in very cold weather on Saturday, then I think they're going to win the West, and they're going to be a team to really be reckoned with in the SEC title game against Georgia.
At Tim Brando, as always, is how you follow him on Twitter. Tim, I tried to do my best Timmy B impression when I was at Camp Randall on Saturday. I was trying to recreate. My wife wasn't having it. She said, it's a little too personal. And I was like, well, you're my wife. What the hell? What do you mean that's too personal? That was one of my – always you and Spencer, one of my favorite crews. I always get excited when I know that you guys are doing a Maryland game. Look forward to spending an afternoon with you guys tomorrow, and truly appreciate taking the time as always.
Thank you, Glenn. And, Maryland, I got a lot of friends that are Maryland alums, whether it's SVP or my buddy John Oran with SBJ.
Sure.
Bernstein I worked with. So I think so often about the people from Maryland And Johnny Holiday, my God, I got a chance to see and talk to Johnny Holiday, for Christ's sake.
The greatest human being that's ever lived. I mean, I get tears in my eyes. I get tears in my eyes when you bring up that name, Tim.
It's the Hullabaloo when he was the MC for Hullabaloo in the 60s. God bless him.
Wow, no doubt, man. Timmy B, love you, brother. Appreciate you.
All the best. Take care, Glenn.
That's Tim Brando checking in with us here on GCR. Again, he'll be on the call tomorrow for Maryland-Penn State, 3:30 on Fox. Nice little day. If you're not going to Navy Notre Dame and you just have a day that especially what's the story? Is the weather still going to be rolling through here tomorrow? Like, is it?
I think it's supposed to clear up like early in the morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand why it's supposed to be bad again tomorrow at Penn State.
Yeah, I know. Unless it's moving. I mean, I'm not a meteorologist.
You know what? That's a great point. We've learned otherwise I thought you were an expert. But if you're just planning on sitting around and hanging out tomorrow, you get to watch Navy Notre Dame at noon, the Maryland-Penn State at 3:30. Nice little back-to-back there. Double header of football action. Big games tomorrow that you can enjoy. I'm trying to pull up the weather for tomorrow. Because a lot of people will be going to the Maryland or the Navy Notre Dame game here in Baltimore. Oh, my.
Looks like it'll... Yeah, it looks pretty nice, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Sun should be out from 8 to 2.
It does say sunny starting at 8 a.m.
A little windy, but...
Yeah, it's weird that... I don't know. It's weird. But, yeah, looks nice. Looks like a nice day for those of you that are headed down to M&T Bank Stadium tomorrow for Navy Notre Dame. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. And, of course, PressBox is trying to hook you up as online sports betting is coming in the next couple of weeks here in the state of Maryland. PressBox will be your source for the best offers and sign-up incentives. Starting right now, you can get a $100 pre-registration credit from our friends at FanDuel by going to PressBoxOnline.com/offers. That $100 credit is in addition to the new user promo that you'll get when they go live. Just go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers right now to get your $100 FanDuel pre-registration bonus credit, PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Come back in, and we'll find out what's going on in the world of the Utes. Young Yutes is next. It's Glenn Clark Radio. The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Glory Days Grill's Oktoberfest menu is now running. It's one of their most popular seasonal menus all year. It features the chicken schnitzel, the Oktoberfest brewer's platter, the brewer's sausage sandwich, the Bavarian burger with a pretzel bun, the cheddar ale soup, the slam dunk pretzels, and the apple cobbler. All of these meals pair well with Oktoberfest beers and Angry Orchard on draft. Dine in or order online at glorydaysgrill.com and pick up your favorites to take home. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Receive a free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich offer card as a thank you when you donate to Toys for Tots on Saturday, November 12th at any of the 13 Baltimore area Chick-fil-A Stuff the Truck event sites. Be one of the first 50 people to donate, and you will also get a free t-shirt. For a location list and more information, visit PressBoxOnline.com/toy drive.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show too.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue on a Friday edition of the program. Today's show is also brought to you by, this one will be brought to you by, how about the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill? I love the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. You can use the code TAILGATE at ginsugrills.com and save $100 when you order your new Ginsu Kamado Grill. It's the perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill for grilling, baking, searing, and smoking all kinds of food. On top of that, Ravens are back home next Sunday, November 20th, to take on the Panthers. And you'll have the opportunity to stop by the Game Day Firehouse at the Firefighters Union Hall, 1202 Ridgely Street, just west of the stadium before the game. And you can sample some cooking from the Ginsu Kamado Grill and register to win your own Ginsu Kamado Grill, as well as $500 worth of grilling meats. Again, ginsugrills.com. Use the code TAILGATE, save $100. Stop by next Sunday before the game at the Game Day Firehouse on Ridgely Street and register to win your own Ginsu Kamado Grill. So we're left in this very awkward situation, Griffin. It's very uncomfortable where either we just move on or we continue to wait, and then I don't know, I dance. I can read some more of the responses. Do you want me to buy you like one more minute and then we move on?
Yeah, I guess let's buy one more minute.
Buy one more minute.
Just practice your dance for the showcase.
That's
later.
right. I had to work on my routine. Hello, my baby. A couple of responses that have come in. Again, my question today, do you believe that Odell Beckham could be the difference in the Ravens winning the Super Bowl or not? From Lewis, nope. If he were really a difference maker at this point of his career, he wouldn't be bouncing from team to team. Well, I don't know if he would be bouncing from team to team if he hadn't gotten hurt in the Super Bowl. It feels like we're doing a lot of things. We're just sort of creating our own narratives sometime. Yeah. Like, I get it. It didn't work out with Odell Beckham in Cleveland. It did in Los Angeles. Very much so it worked out. But then he suffered a serious injury in the Super Bowl. I'm guessing if that hadn't happened, the Rams probably would have wanted him back. Now, he points out that he would have liked to have gone back to the Rams. The Rams didn't offer him a deal. At this point, I don't know if that'll change.
It seems like a lot of people are like saying they don't want to change things. Like what we're doing is okay. But I mean, you look around at the great team, like the Eagles and the Bills, like they're always adding. It feels like, and like
well, I don't know. I don't know where it comes from that adding an Odell Beckham would make you change what you do.
Right.
Like I don't know what.
Yeah, like Greg Roman's still going to be Greg Roman. Like,
well, it was awkward that the Ravens offensively early in the season weren't running a Greg Roman offense. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand that. I'll never understand why you brought Greg Roman back, didn't get any wide receivers, and then said, but it's time for us to open things up. Like, that was illogical.
Yeah.
Now they've settled back into what I think they should have been doing all along, and I'm in favor of that. I don't think you change that just because you're bringing in Odell Beckham. But even in a Greg Roman offense, you throw the ball sometimes.
Yes.
Like, I would rather have a more reliable target to throw the ball to. Some of these things are very much confusing.
And, like, it would open things up for a Devin Duvernay or whoever else to have,
you
like,
would
another
think.
target.
You would think. KZ said, I don't really. I think if he can be faster than Deshaun Jackson, maybe they need take the top off the defense guy, in my opinion. If Will Fuller had wanted to play football, I would have tried him first. I get that argument that, like, that's what they're really missing is, like, a go guy. Devin Duvernay's quick, but he's not that guy. He's more the underneath quick and, get a quick hitter and then try to get him into space and make something happen. They're missing the Torrey Smith role in this offense, the true we were talking about this with Dominique Foxworth yesterday, where Dom was like, look, I think the one thing that's missing when this Greg Roman offense is deep shots. Yeah. Like that you're not going to get them out of blitzing by throwing with quick hitters. Teams are okay with you going to quick hitters. That's a risk worth them taking. You need to go deep in order to get them out of blitzing this much. And that's the specific skill set that's missing is who's that guy? Who are you throwing those deep shots to? So I get the argument, but I don't think that guy is available. So if there was a better option for who was available, I would look for that guy. There's not. There's one guy that's available at this point that plays the wide receiver position. Antonio, I doubt he'd come here, but in the instances they will have to throw, you want to capitalize. Him versus man coverage for 3 catches a game would be crucial. If you're only going to throw 10 times, maybe make the odds that you complete each pass higher. We also don't know if they can play from behind. So he thinks that it's more possible. He thinks that it's more plausible that it could be the difference. From Big Daddy. Is Adam Sandler checked in? I've had Adam Sandler on the show before.
Maybe it is him.
I don't know. Would he be the difference? No, but he would be an upgrade. It's also an Odell coming back from a major knee injury. I get it. You're kind of mixing words there. You're kind of not fully answering the question. You're kind of giving your own answer to the question there. Would he be the difference? No. Okay, well then that's the answer that I'm looking for. I think we all agree that. I don't know. Clearly, we don't all agree. Some of us very much don't agree. In fact, but I think most of us agree that they'd be better off having Odell Beckham on the field. But is it the difference in whether or not they win the Super Bowl? That's the question that I'm asking. Continue to get me your responses at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. We will continue to share them throughout the course of the show. Today's show is also brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals and new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. Just want to take a minute here. There was some Orioles news this week, and we were talking a little bit about it yesterday, so we wanted to catch up with one of our best friends. This man, you hear him on 105.7 The Fan, of course, Orioles legend, Orioles Hall of Famer. He is our buddy, and a man who eats testicles. It's documented. He's made it very clear. He is our friend, Mr. Mike Bordick, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Mike, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me today. Let's be a little more specific now. It's beef testicles, and I cook them on the grill.
I mean, but they are they are testicles, correct? I was right about that.
Absolutely. You know, just to go off on that, just for a brief second, I was reading this study yesterday, and it said it was talking about nutrient density, and organ meats are the healthiest, most bioavailable food a human being can eat, and I'm talking about heart, liver, beef testicles, kidney, spleen. So come on now,
man.
You want to be healthy? Let's get at it.
Mike, look, man, I look better than I once looked upon it. I'm never gonna look like Mike Bordick. I'm never gonna be able to do it. I'm just not.
Well, I hope not. I hope not.
Hey, Bordy, you know the reaction in town this week. So the Orioles don't pick up Jordan Lyles' option, and again, on paper, is that the end of the world? No. But you know what this fan base feels like, and you know there's a lot of same old Orioles sentiment to it. What was your reaction to finding out that after Jordan Lyles did everything that he was asked to do this season, the Orioles decided not to pick up the option for 2023?
Yeah, and then some, if you ask me. He was a great team leader. I think, a big reason why the team ERA dropped 2 total runs collectively, I think was a big part because of his leadership. And I don't know that, they have an algorithm that can measure that, unfortunately. I think his value was just that, immeasurable. And it's unfortunate they didn't, re-sign him. I think everybody on that pitching staff, starters, a bullpen alike, I think really have kind of, heavy hearts. Hopefully they can work a deal out. Who knows? Maybe he'll sign back for less. I really don't know, but I think he deserved that option to be picked up for everything he did for the team last year. He 8 innings like they were hoping. He, I think, pitched way better than anybody expected. His home run total was dang nearly cut in half after leading the league, a couple years ago. So, I think he went above and beyond and certainly deserved that kind of contract. I don't know what kind of message it actually sends really to the fan base or the team, unless they think that they can get a more affordable guy in the rotation. And I'll tell you what, that's going to be hard to do. My hope is that they go out and do get a legitimate, proven number one or number two. But I'll tell you right now, it's going to cost, 150, 200 million.
No doubt.
To land a guy like that.
Yeah, trust me, I'd be all for Carlos Rodon, Mike, but I'm not, considering what the Orioles have done in their history as far as signing pitchers, I'm not counting on it until we see it. I guess here's my question, right? They have a lot of internal candidates for the rotation next year. It's the thing that was weird as this season went on. Remember, we thought their issue was pitching and that the lineup was going to produce a lot, and then it kind of ended up being the exact opposite of that. So even if you take Lyles out of the equation, you still have, Grayson Rodriguez, Tyler Wells, Bradish, Kramer, Voth, who was, a revelation this season. DL Hall, maybe they still think of as somebody that's going to be in the rotation. John Means at some point next year. Is it imperative that they upgrade pitching, or is it possible that they could look at that group and say, we think we've got the answer pitching-wise here? We actually think the bigger issue and where we need to spend some money is to score some more runs next season.
No, there ain't no way that an organization is going to sit back and say they have enough pitching.
That's fair.
Especially with the young pitching they have. Is Kyle Bradish going to be the team leader? Yeah, he had a really strong second half. Are you kidding me? There's no way guys are coming to Kyle Bradish and ask for help and an understanding of how to get 10 years in the major leagues and have some sort of moderate success. And no way. And the list goes on and on. These guys just don't have enough experience. Yeah, do we hope they all step up and do a great job? It would be, in my opinion, a miracle if you had Grayson Rodriguez, DL Hall, Bradish, a couple of the other young guys all of a sudden step up and do what they did last year without the help of a veteran leader like Lyles, to kind of be a calming influence, to let them know that everything's going to be okay. You don't have to jump off the Bay Bridge after one bad start. That's the impact. He had such an incredible impact on these guys to help them regroup, especially when half of them were sent back down to the minor leagues and then called back up. He had a huge influence in that regard. So, I honestly think he's going to be missed, and it's going to be tough. Yeah, they've got good arms. They really, really do. But the value of a veteran, a quality veteran presence, is so underrated and undervalued. We even saw it with Chirinos before Rutschman got there. He was a great veteran presence. He controlled the pitching staff very well. He was a leader behind the plate. Did he hit? No, he didn't hit at all. But his value was huge to that team last year, and a big reason why they had success. And I think Lyles went in that same kind of category.
He is Mike Bordick. He's with us here on GCR. Mike, so what would your, give me three, your priorities be now that they've made this decision with Jordan Lyles, as free agency opens, and we are expecting for the first time in a long time the Orioles to be involved, what would your 2 to 3 top priorities be for what they need to do in order to put themselves in a position to break through? They've taken the step they've taken. Now to break through and get in next season, what do they still need to do?
Well, I want to tell you, and this is my opinion. Okay, I wish that Elias hadn't have jumped out and said it's go time, because now everybody's looking for him to crush the free agent market, land one or two front end dominant pitchers, because that's what it's going to take. It's definitely going to take pitching to make it to the promised land, to find consistency, and it might be an extra bullpen arm on the back end, so they have a little bit more depth back there. Maybe three guys that are just go-to shutdown guys, because they still haven't figured out how to go deep into ball games with a starting rotation. So you better have a strong bullpen. And I'm afraid that the arms that they had last year got a little bit overexposed. Everybody fatigued at the end. And I'm not saying they can't be next year, but bullpens are typically made of interchangeable parts. So hopefully they look for another one or two guys for a bullpen. And it'd be nice if they could land another starter or two. I mean, every organization struggles for pitching depth, period. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be hard to attract offensive free agents, especially right-handed guys. And I know there's a slew of great shortstops out there that would probably love to come, potentially come to Baltimore. At least Mike Elias would love to have them come to Baltimore. But who the heck wants to hit right-handed at Camden Yards now? It's going to be a career killer for guys. I mean, you're going to knock 10 home runs easy off their totals. I mean, look at Mountcastle, dropped hugely. Mancini dropped huge in the home run total. So, they're going to have to readjust, I think, have different viewpoint offensively as far as being just more situationally minded, because the home runs I don't think are going to be there. They do have some strong left-handed bats. Don't get me wrong. Left-handed bats are going to carry a lot of weight, I think, at Camden Yards from here on out. But to find a power-hitting right-handed hitter is going to be hard, because I don't know how many guys want to come and try to challenge the Great Wall out there.
Obviously we saw what happened with Trey Mancini this season in terms of that. There's an emotional factor there. There's an attachment. There's people that say, hey, look, that's actually the type of hitter that you could still use. Would you be interested in revisiting Trey Mancini, or do you think after we saw what happened last year, it's just kind of time to move on from that?
I think it's time to move on. I mean, I think everybody loves what Trey Mancini did for the Baltimore Orioles. I just feel like they have so much talent, and I think I jumped ahead of myself. They have so much talent in the minor leagues. Why would you go out and block some of this talent? They haven't had a problem calling up young guys. Let's see some more young guys before we push the complete go button and try to hoist the trophy next year. There's so much room, I think, for growth and opportunities to even have more impactful trades before the deadline next year. I mean, you get some guys exposed to the major leagues and some of the talent they have, climbing their way through. They're pushing guys right through the minor leagues right now, and there is a stockpile of potential offensive force, right there in AAA. So, those guys deserve, I think, a shot at the major leagues. And it would really be disheartening if they all of a sudden blocked them with, guys that, ho-hum. And I'm not saying Trey Mancini's ho-hum, but guys that, could potentially let this young energy just get stopped at AAA. So I'm hoping they continue to bring the young guys up, keep that energy coming, and then maybe mid-season work some deals. I still think if there's an affordable starter or bullpen piece that they can grab that could be impactful, yeah, sure, bring them on. But man, oh man, I like a lot of the fans want to see these young, hungry players make it to the big leagues and then kind of add on from there. I just don't think there's enough. We haven't seen enough from the stockpile of talent they have in the minor leagues yet at the major league level to all of a sudden go on a spending spree in the free agent market.
I know I feel pretty good about catcher and shortstop. I know I feel pretty good about those two places in particular. Mike, tell me about MikeBordick14.com. I just saw this pop up this week. What's going on?
Oh, man. Well, you know what? Well, first of all, I love sharing, my career, whatever I can to help inspire the kids, even adults, through some of my messaging. I think everybody has a unique story, and if I can kind of get that out there through a different, venue, so be it. I'm trying to encourage opportunities to get out there and speak to kids, parents about youth sports, about sports in general, even go speaking at businesses, because I think anybody that's had any kind of success, that there's, a message there that might be the right wording to help somebody else get above and beyond what their expectations are. I think in a lot of ways, I think we all kind of get stuck in our own thoughts and beliefs. And I'm here to tell you that everybody can make a little bit of a paradigm shift, whether it be through their nutrition choices, health and wellness ideas, or even career things. I've been really excited to be more involved with the League of Dreams. I'm incredibly fired up about this new startup business, Alloy Sports.
Yep.
And I'm also loving giving lessons to kids and talking to parents when I do my clinics and stuff with the Baseball Warehouse. So I got a lot of cool things going on, and I just like to share my message. And really that's what the website is all about, to try to get a little bit more interest in that regard.
That's awesome, man. You know how much we love you. At @mbordick on Twitter as well is how you follow him. Mike Bordick, thanks for squeezing in a couple minutes for us this morning, man. Really appreciate it. Let's talk again as the offseason moves on and we see what the Orioles end up doing, all right?
Hey, sounds good. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
Mike Bordick checking in with us here on GCR. Appreciate him doing that. Boy, he is fired up about Jordan Lyles. Not happy at all. Hey, it's time for Young Yutes. Young Yutes is brought to you this week by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. The UFC 281 tomorrow. Israel Adesanya. Who's he? I just forgot. Who's he fighting?
Alex Pereira.
That's right. Thank you. Yes. You want to be there, watch the fights, bet, win some money. You don't have to pay a cent. $75 for a pay-per-view? The hell with that. Go watch them for free. The FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. And win money while you're at it betting on the fights. Reserve your spot right now by emailing events@sportsocialmd.com. All right, Micah, what's going on in the world of the Utes?
All right, so first thing, we could not get through this week without talking about LeBron being established as officially the GOAT of lying.
Ah, yes, right. This is all Twitter has been.
Yeah, so all over Twitter this week.
I say that. We could also talk about the fact that Twitter's dead. We could also discuss that. There is no more Twitter any longer.
We have a couple Twitter-related ones today. So after Takeoff passed away last week, they asked LeBron about it in a press conference, and he said, I was listening to those guys talking about the Migos. Back in my first year with the Heat in 2010, you can ask any of my teammates back then. They had no idea who Migos was. I was telling everyone, these guys are next. Migos had not dropped a project until a year and a half after that. So,
well, that's weird.
That explains why no one knew who the Migos were.
Look, I don't need to defend LeBron because it is absolutely possible this is stolen valor, right? That he's trying to make Takeoff dying all about him, which is dumb.
But then everyone pulled up all the examples from his career,
and this is
of all the times he lied.
This is what I struggle with. There are absolutely times where I remember most of a story or some of a story or something like that, and it ain't a stolen valor thing. It's just I don't remember. Drew and I will do this all the time. We'll be like, dude, you don't remember you were the one. I was like, I don't think that's the case. And then you start going through your mind, you're like, was that then? Or you think about it, maybe LeBron James really was in on Migos before a lot of people were in on Migos.
Before Migos was in on Migos?
It just might not have been in 2010 when he was with the Heat. He might be conflicting. I don't know. It's possible he just made something up for attention, and I get it, given the other things that people have gone back and
There's
found
so
out
many.
About his sort of little fibs. It's possible. But
all of them are harmless, but it's just hilarious.
And that's when I come back to it, I feel like we're making it so that we're going the route of he makes things up for attention.
Because so many people don't like him.
Being the more likely scenario than just he doesn't remember every little detail of every little thing exactly, which I think is the most likely scenario.
Did you see the one with his book, with the book? He was carrying around this book pregame and the whole day, and then he brought it to his postgame conference, and they were like, oh, what's your favorite thing that's happened in the book or message? And he's like, he's been carrying around this book, showing it off.
Right,
and
but he clearly hasn't read the book. Yeah.
There's a lot of I haven't really read it cover to cover yet, but there's just really good stuff in here. Like everyone's like,
Yeah,
why are you carrying around this book
it's-
if you don't know anything
It's
about it?
weird, yes, and it makes you immediately assume you're a weirdo, right? As long as we're having fun with it, I'm fine with all of the tweets that I'm seeing about LeBron. Like, I'm fine with it as long as we're having fun with it.
I think it's hilarious.
If we're actually trying to make it seem like it makes LeBron a bad person or something like that, like, dude, my God. Do you know how many times I've told a story on here that probably I've told more than once and something about it changed?
Yeah.
It ain't because I'm lying. It's because I'm 40.
Yeah.
I'm LeBron's age. Like, over time, what I think I remember from one day to the next, I didn't write it down in a diary somewhere. I remember the crux of the story. So I don't know. This in a weird way, there are people that have bothered me with them going after LeBron, but like for the most part, I think it's been in good fun. So
I agree.
I'm not all that worked up about it.
I like people were commenting like me back when I was a waiter, just like making up stories and like telling people stuff.
I mean, like, dude, I guarantee you,
just to pass the time.
I'm trying to think of there was something that I was talking to my wife about this weekend because we spent a lot of time in a car together, and there was a story I was talking to my wife about, and I remember like getting midway through the story, I'm like, wait a second, is that what happened?
Yeah, that's not what happened.
Is that? And like this is only something that was 15 years ago. Like this only was something that happened. I remember more. So I had a friend, and he and I were talking about what seminal moments in your life. Like moments that change the course of your life. And I brought up, well, like one's kind of obvious for me. I went to a bar one night and I ended up meeting my wife. Like if I didn't want to go out that night, I had said no, but my buddy convinced me I should go out. And if I don't go out that night, I never meet my wife.
He's making this up.
Correct. All of this is.
Did you write this? Can we?
Yeah, right. Back and check. 2008.
Do you have any proof?
2008. I mean, I have other people that were with us. My wife would be part of the proof. I
guess so.
I said that's like the seminal moment in my life, and he was like, "Well, what do you think would have happened if you hadn't gone to the party?" And I was like, I've never thought about that. Like, I've never thought about what my life would be if I just had, because I was doing mornings then. I didn't want to go out on a Thursday night. I had to be up at 5 o'clock. I was like, dude, I have no interest in going out tonight. Zero. And we went to CVP's, and I ended up meeting my wife. He said, "What do you think your life would have been like?" And I was like, literally thinking about it. I'm trying to go back and remember like who I was talking to. Like, was there another girl that I would have ended up? I'm like, I have no effing clue.
Yeah.
And this was only 14 years ago. This isn't that long ago. 14 years ago, and I can't remember anything about like what my
It's like a butterfly effect type thing or whatever.
Right? But
This doesn't happen.
I realized that like it's easy to forget about things that aren't that significant, or to forget details of things that aren't that significant. And I'm inclined to give LeBron some of the benefit of the doubt on some of that.
Yeah, I just loved following it and watching all the
and some of the tweets
I think
have
it's
been
hilarious.
really good. I agree.
So the next one is one thing we've learned in the music industry is that if Drake's dropping an album, he's going to be a subject of memes for the entire month following. So Drake dropped a collab album with 21 Savage this past week.
You included a Baltimore Ravens lyric in his new album.
Really?
By the way. What was the lyric?
It was shoot. I'll see if I can find it real quick. It was like, I'm in Baltimore and I'm Raven or something.
Clever.
It was very good.
There you go.
So one of his lyrics from the song that blew up all over TikTok and everything is he starts the song saying like, 21, can you do some for me? And people instantly made memes about Drake's feminine side when it comes to being with 21 Savage. And he did not help himself out by posting a selfie to promote the album. And it's him wearing a silk bonnet after just getting his eyebrows done, laying in bed.
It looks adorable. It looks very... Look at Drake.
Why did he post that?
He doesn't help himself out at all because everyone's making all these jokes about Drake, and then he posts himself in a silk bonnet after getting a makeover.
Not gonna get. I can't be bothered by that.
Can you do
whatever Drake wants to do with his life? God bless, man.
The tweets are something along the lines of Drake, the type of guy to say, "I'm feeling snug as a bug in a rug."
Yeah,
before falling asleep. It's all that type of thing.
Yo, I mean, he looks comfortable as hell. I don't think I've ever looked that comfortable in my life. I'm jealous as hell as Drake.
You gotta get yourself a silk
Yo,
bonnet.
I need a bonnet. Hell yeah. If somebody can get me a bonnet.
The Baltimore line was, you would think we live in Baltimore the way they raven about the latest product.
There you go. That was the Ravens line.
That's actually cool.
What's the name of Drake's album?
Her Loss.
What is it?
Her Loss.
Her Loss. Thank you. That's the one. Tyus is a big Drake fan, so I'm sure we'll talk about it next week. I didn't listen to Certified Lover Boy though. Like I listened to it once. I listened to it once, and I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Just came across a tweet where they photoshopped 21 Savage laying in bed behind Drake in his bonnet.
Good. Normalize bros being bros, man. There was a tweet that was going around about a baseball game earlier this year. It was really cold, maybe in San Francisco, and they took a shot of like two guys underneath a blanket together, and I was like, yeah, let's normalize this behavior. We're both cold.
Snuggle with the homies.
Why are we gonna be worried about the fact that we're snuggling together? Why are we? What's wrong with a couple of dudes spooning underneath the blanket?
Exactly.
When it is that you're cold outside, man. What the hell? Why is that weird? I don't get it. Makes no sense.
Snug as a bug in a rug.
When we were, I want to say like 20, maybe we had turned 21. A group of us decided we were going to. There you go.
Can you do it?
We decided that we were going to go down to the beach for a weekend or a week, whatever it was. And we started doing the math, and there were more of us than there were beds, right? Like we started doing the math on that. And unfortunately, all of the girls that were on the trip were already bunned up. Like there were none of the girls on the trip were single. So our plan was to go meet some young ladies on this trip. But the math wasn't working out. Like there were more of us than there were beds. My lifelong best friend was on the trip, and we both looked at each other like, yo, we'll share a bed.
Yeah, like, you got to implement a bro room.
Like, we'll share a bed. And everybody looked at us like, really? I'm like, yeah, like it's my best friend. Who cares?
We did the same thing at my senior week.
Share a bed.
There was one room that had bunk beds, and all the other rooms were like a regular like queen bed or whatever. Yeah. So couples got all the rooms, and then there were, I think, 5 dudes left over. And they were in the room, just a twin bed and bunk bed. So we had the bro room.
Man, bro, that sounds great to me.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
We actually we took the bed out of the room it was in and put it out on the balcony because we were going to be in that room with a couple, and we were like, yo, y'all do your thing. We get it.
We'll chill on the balcony.
We'll be out here. And we literally took a
outside?
Giant bed and just put it out on the balcony.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
That was where we crashed. And then it was awkward because one night we both met young ladies, and we're doing like a rock paper scissors thing. Like,
who gets the balcony suite?
Yeah, it was a bit awkward. Like, who's gonna have to try to talk her into letting you go back to her place? It was a very prolonged like conversation. All right, like your girl's down here staying at her grandparents' house. They ain't gonna work. Like, we're not gonna be able to do that. Like, how are we gonna? All right,
logistical nightmare leaving the bar.
What's the other girls? Dude, you're doing all sorts of, you're drunk, and yet suddenly your brain is functioning at a higher level than it's ever functioned before.
Lock in right now.
All right, if you go back now, then like you can do what you want to do, and then like
get out
2 hours, I can go back. Like we're all doing that math in that situation. All right, number 3.
So the last one is, as we were saying, a lot of changes coming to Twitter with changing your username, paying for the check mark.
Well, apparently that's out.
Yeah. Because of a lot of different things. So
yes, well, because everybody was doing exactly what we thought they were going to do.
Exactly
like,
what everyone
I've never seen anything
planned.
more telegraphed in the history of time than this particular disaster. Literally,
Elon, this is going to be a bad idea.
Everybody on the planet saying, well, we know exactly what's going to happen here. And that dummy, who we all try to portray as being some sort of genius, being like, no, this'll be great. Give me your $8. And then literally walking into a meeting yesterday and being like, guys, we might go bankrupt.
So one funny story that happened with the new Twitter rules and the new Twitter as a whole is the famous artist Doja Cat changed her name and got verified under the handle Christmas. Her name was just Christmas.
Okay.
And she did it as a joke and didn't realize that she couldn't change it back. So her series of tweets at 1:28 and 1:30 a.m. are, why can't I change my name on here? How do I change it? Also, F you, Elon. I don't want to be Christmas forever. Please help, at Elon Musk. I've made a mistake. And then Elon responded with working on it. It's pretty funny, though. That was Elon's tweet back.
I mean.
And she said, thanks, Elon. He said, you should be able to change your name now. And she changed it to Fart. So all is well. All is right in the world.
This is exactly why we can't lose Twitter. Like, this is the reason why we can't lose Twitter. I mean,
God forbid your Christmas.
The best tweets of the week have been like the real last day of school vibes around this place, right?
Yeah.
Like it absolutely feels like the zombies have come and ransacked, and you're just hanging out. Like you're also going to be eaten by the zombies, but in the meantime, like you're taking advantage of. I mean, I'm still alive. Like I'm still good for now, but you just know what's going to happen. You know it's going to end. Twitter's done.
Yeah, I like that everyone knew it was going to go terribly, and then it started going terribly, and then Elon's still personally responding.
Right?
No, he's personally responding to people and being like, it's pretty funny, though, with, like, laughing emojis. I think that's hilarious.
It must be nice to be so wealthy that you can bankrupt a major corporation that you paid $44 billion for.
Which is
a
sixth of his net worth went into Twitter or something like that.
Must be nice that you can just take on a $44 billion vanity project and be like, didn't work out. I wrecked the world. Oh, well, I'll just go off and do something
Wipe
else.
your tears with $100 bills after Twitter crashes.
It's this amazing thing where maybe if somebody's good at something, that doesn't mean that they're good at other things. Like, it's this hilarious bit that we have where if somebody's famous, it means that we think, well, now we should let them be president. Or now we should let them. Like, no, maybe they have a skill set, right? Like, maybe LeBron James shouldn't be in charge of, it shouldn't be a lawyer because he might not have the greatest truth spectrum.
Yeah.
I can't help but notice how many times we stan someone that maybe Elon Musk was just, I don't even know really what he was good at. That's the funny part about Elon Musk. It's like, did he design the Tesla? Like, what was he good at?
He also, like, got to start with PayPal, which is, like, probably the worst.
Oh, my God. Who uses PayPal?
It's probably, like, the worst
it's terrible.
online paying
It's
app.
awful. It's wretched. I don't think
it gets hacked all the time.
Constantly. But what did he do? Like, what was his actual skill? I associate him with Tesla, but did he design the Tesla, or did he just start the company?
I don't know.
I know people are screaming.
He made a flamethrower.
Okay, but did he make it, or did somebody else make it and it just had his name on it?
I have no answers. All I know is Doja Cat is fart on Twitter. So follow fart.
You're going to talk about that? Oh, you're not talking about anything. I'm the one talking.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about it at the Stevenson. But like the value of Micah is overwhelming. He lets us know that Doja Cat is known as fart on Twitter. And that's the type of information you just can't get anywhere else. All right, I know you got to go. Thank you, pal. Micah,
of course.
Micah.Ernest on Instagram. You going to get KZ's punishment video?
I already downloaded it. I'll get that up.
Thank you, pal. All right, thank you, Micah.
After you do your dance.
I'm still working. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Doing the internship showcase over at Stevenson here in 50 minutes. So I got to get going, too. All right, when we come back in, we will get a tidbit and two-bit a wrap-up. It is Glenn Clark Radio. Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What's up, everyone? This is Tyus Bowser, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm back for Season 2 of The Tyus Bowser Show in partnership with PressBox and Great H Memorabilia. Join us on Tuesday nights throughout the season as I'll be heading all over town with my special guests. And, of course, our co-hosts, Glenn and Rita. Or is it Rita and Glenn? What is it? I look forward to meeting you guys and talking a little bit about football and a lot about life. And if you happen to miss the show, you can now catch a replay Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. Get all of your details for the Tyus Bowser Show right now at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, November 15th at Mother's North Grill in Timonium. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Glory Days Grill's Oktoberfest menu is now running. It's one of their most popular seasonal menus all year. It features the chicken schnitzel, the Oktoberfest Brewer's Platter, the Brewer's Sausage Sandwich, the Bavarian Burger with a pretzel bun, the Cheddar Ale Soup, the Slam Dunk Pretzels, and the Apple Cobbler. All of these meals pair well with Oktoberfest beers and Angry Orchard on draft. Dine in or order online at GloryDaysGrill.com and pick up your favorites to take home. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
Check out Jeremy Kahn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest, and I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
Tomorrow is the day the Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants invite you to support Toys for Tots. Tomorrow, Saturday, November 12th, donate a new toy at any of their 11 Stuff the Truck locations and receive a free sandwich offer card as a thank you. For more info, visit PressBoxOnline.com/toy drive. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by FanDuel. Of course, online sports betting is coming. And PressBoxOnline.com/offers is the place that you need to know in order to find some great offers. The first one that we've offered you is with FanDuel. It's $100 for pre-registration credit on top of the new user promo that you're going to get when they go live. And now, coming today, another offer, this time from the folks at BetMGM. Could get even... Well, look. What is that?
More money?
Might be even more.
Whoa.
Might be even more. I'd be checking out PressBoxOnline.com/offers as you decide the directions that you're going to go as a sports bettor here in the state of Maryland.
All right, so Warren Sharp tweeted out earlier this week the yardage of the longest touchdown scored by each team. So I want to know if you can name who the two teams with the two longest touchdowns, and also the team with the shortest touchdown, which was very telling. Which was very, it was very interesting. I just want to see.
Well, you would assume that it's a running team, which makes it interesting because could it be the Ravens? But does it just all offensive plays? Or
yes, offensive plays. So yardage of longest offensive touchdown.
So it takes out returns. And
although I think the Ravens are still the only team with a return touchdown.
Is that true?
I think so. At least it was a couple weeks ago. Like Devin Duvernay was the only one with a return touchdown.
Wow.
That's what they're. Wasn't that what they were like talking about on Thursday Night Football? They were like Duvernay's only return guy. Anyway, longest offensive.
All right. Longest.
When you think about it, you should.
Well, yeah, the only long one I remember was the one that the Bills scored. Is it the Bills?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Bills have a 98-yard.
I do remember that there was a
Gabe Davis.
Yep, and I had
it. And who would be second on there?
Second, Kansas City.
Not Kansas City.
Second.
Kansas City actually pretty low. They're only 45 yards is Kansas City's longest touchdown.
How about that? Philly.
Not Philly.
I just don't remember other long touchdowns this year. I don't remember any other.
Think about a game that had really high scoring early in the season.
Game that had really high scoring. The Ravens-Dolphins game, Miami?
Mm-hmm. Yes. What was the longest touchdown in that one?
I mean, Jalen Waddle had a long
Lamar
touchdown.
Jackson, 79 yards.
Oh.
Right up the middle.
That's right.
Yeah, that is
totally
second. So Ravens,
that.
and then
all right.
5 teams tied with 75 yards. And then who would have the shortest yardage on an offensive touchdown this season?
Carolina.
Not Carolina. Where's Carolina?
Green Bay.
Carolina's had a 75-yarder. Not Green Bay. They are low, though, 37.
Vegas.
Not Vegas.
Indy.
Not Indy. In our division.
Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh. Can you guess how many yards their longest touchdown?
20.
Lower.
Really?
Really.
14.
8 yards is their longest touchdown. Yeah.
That is rough.
So there's 22 teams that have 50-plus yards. Every other team has at least 23. The Chargers have 23 yards is the longest of the Chargers, and then the Steelers 8 yards.
That is
it's their longest touchdown.
Rough scene. Rough scene.
And then I had probably a quick one on Silver Sluggers. Mike Trout, first player to win 9 Silver Sluggers by their age 30 season. Can you round out the top 5 of most Silver Sluggers before turning 30?
I mean, I don't know if I can name the most Silver Sluggers ever. Barry Bonds.
Not Barry Bonds.
He did most of it after he was 30.
Good.
Alex Rodriguez.
Alex Rodriguez. He was tied with Mike Trout until Mike Trout just broke that. 8.
Okay.
So 9 is Trout, 8.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Third place, 7 for Ken Griffey. 2 more guys, both with 6.
2 more guys, both with 6. Young. The Young Yutes. Pujols.
Not Pujols.
That's a bit surprising, is
kind
it
of
not?
is, yeah.
Frank Thomas.
Pujols and Bonds both had 5. Not Frank Thomas either.
Jim Thome.
Not Jim Thome. They're both catchers.
Both catchers.
Uniquely enough.
Both catchers. Piazza.
Piazza is one of them.
Pudge.
Pudge is the other.
All right, very good.
Well
very good. All right, here's coming up Totally Tubular-wise this weekend. Totally Tubular is brought to you by Glory Days Grill. John from Little Rock and I just went over to Glory Days Grill yesterday, and he was like, dude, I'm getting the smoky thigh wings. I've never had them, and I keep hearing you talking about them. He was like, yo. I said, that's what I'm saying, man. They're that good. They never need to make wings again. They still do. You can enjoy those, but the smoky thigh wings. John was like, yo, I don't even need to dip these in anything. I'm like, you don't. Here's the problem. The little remoulade that they give you is so good that you want to anyway. That's how amazing the smoky thigh wings are. And every night, $6.99 apps at Glory Days Grill, including the smoky thigh wings. GloryDaysGrill.com, again, is the website for you to get your order in. Here is what's coming up Totally Tubular-wise this weekend. As far as tonight, not a ton.
It is pouring.
It is. It was distracting when I heard. It was honestly distracting. Veterans Classic is tonight on CBS Sports Network from down in Annapolis. Houston St. Joe's at 6, Princeton Navy at 8:30. Maryland women take on South Carolina. That's a huge game on ESPN2 at 6 o'clock down in College Park. Coppin's at home tonight against Mount St. Mary's at 7, CoppinStateSports.com. Also, the game on the ship is tonight, ESPN, for Michigan State and Gonzaga at 6:30, and that's always cool, as long as the weather cooperates, as long as it actually goes off.
Where are they?
I think they're doing it in San Diego again.
Okay, so yeah, that'll be fine.
That was where the good one was. The good one, the one between North Carolina and Michigan State, that was just unbelievable, like one of the great visuals in the history of sports. That one was in San Diego. This is trying to check. This one is on the USS Abraham Lincoln in San Diego.
All
so
right.
that is
Very
now
cool.
interesting. They're playing it at 6 because that means it'll be 3 o'clock in San Diego. So it will be totally light out for the game, which I assume they're doing because of the weather factor of once the sun goes down. But I don't know how that impacts like sight lines and like shooting into the sun or something like that. Like that could be interesting, but. Yeah, that's tonight at 6. And then over on Archbishop Spalding's YouTube page, I will have the MIAA semifinal tonight between Spalding and McDonough. That's at 7. Tomorrow, ABC, Notre Dame Navy at noon from M&T Bank Stadium. Fox, 3:30 from Maryland and Penn State. Towson's at Stony Brook at 1 on Flow Sports. Morgan's at Delaware State at 2. Hopkins is home at noon against McDaniel. Cool local rivalry. As far as big game, basketball tomorrow, Morgan State VCU at 7 on Masson, actually. Patriot League Soccer Championship tomorrow night. Navy hosting American, looking to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. That is at 7 on ESPN+. Big game tomorrow. The only really big one is TCU Texas tomorrow night, 7:30 on ABC. That's where College Game Day is. Of course, UFC 281 tomorrow, as we mentioned earlier. Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira at 10 o'clock on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Go watch it at the FanDuel Sportsbook. The local TV games on Sunday. Of course, everybody gets Seahawks Buccaneers, 9:30 a.m. from Munich on NFL Network. Then Fox for Vikings Bills at 1 o'clock. Cowboys Packers at 4:25. CBS Jaguars Chiefs at 1 o'clock. Sunday Night Football on NBC Chargers 49ers at 8:15. Hoops on Sunday. Towson Penn at 4 o'clock. By the way, congratulations to Towson on a nice win up at UMass last night.
Yeah.
They looked really
Nick,
good.
Nick Timberlake, he loves playing in Massachusetts.
That's right.
He's a Mass
home.
native.
Yeah, that's right.
He always kills it whenever he plays Northeastern.
Nice win for them on the road against UMass. They'll be at Penn Sunday at 4 on ESPN Plus. Brown Loyola, as the Greyhounds are home, 5 o'clock on Sunday on ESPN Plus as well. U.S. women are in action on Sunday at 5 on ESPN against Germany, and everything else. Go to glennclarkradio.com to find it. Griffin, what non-sport stands out?
Plus Concordia MIAA semifinal tomorrow at noon on AC Sports YouTube.
What is that? It's what conference?
B conference.
B conference.
Yes. Myself and Miles Goodman on the call for that one. Non-sports new series on Amazon Prime called Mammals, where James Corden is. I really don't. They're kind of promoting it a lot, but
okay.
But the only trailer is like 45 seconds, and it looks. They're like kind of all over the place. His wife is pregnant, and that's really all you can kind of take away from it.
Okay.
But it's James Corden doing something. The English, which is also a new show on Prime, it's like a Western. But with Emily Blunt, and I guess
I was hoping that it would be a prequel to a movie about Turkish from the film Snatch. I was hoping that was where that was going. But
that would be cool. Down to Earth with Zac Efron, season 2 on Netflix.
How about the highlights? How about those?
Not a great weekend.
Dave Chappelle's doing Saturday Night Live, which is quite controversial.
He is. Why did I not find that?
Maybe it's not this week. Maybe it's next week. I don't know. That's I watched the Amy Schumer episode of SNL, and they announced Dave Chappelle as the next host. So I just sort of assumed that it was the next episode, but I guess it's possible it's the following week.
Dave Chappelle.
Apparently, there are writers boycotting.
Oh,
Dave Chappelle hosting SNL because of his transgender. Jokes over the years.
Gotcha. I guess
I believe it is on Saturday.
It is on Saturday.
It's on Saturday.
All right.
Way to go.
They just haven't been pushing it too much.
Way to go.
All right, that would be the highlight. Otherwise, The Walking Dead, The White Lotus, new episodes on Sunday night as well.
All right.
That is it. Yeah.
Black
Slow
Star.
weekend.
Black Star is the musical guest for Saturday Night Live, which is awesome.
Also, I guess the Black Panther Wakanda Forever is out.
Oh, it is, but you have to go to the movie theater.
Yeah, so not too.
I got some great news. We had planned on going tomorrow night. Don't have anybody to watch the kids. No one to watch the kids. So we were like, well, maybe we just pay for a sitter, and then we said we could wait, right? Like we could wait a week. I don't really want.
They don't want to watch it. Or
they
you don't want.
They definitely want to for sure. I'm not sure. I mean, like if it was an afternoon, I'd be more inclined maybe to consider letting them. But at night, they're going to fall asleep, and it's not going to be worth it. And I think the crowd's going to be pretty massive at night for Black Panther this weekend. So I don't know. Maybe Sunday afternoon. Maybe that could be a play for Sunday afternoon. We take them with us.
Matinee.
They also I don't know that they've seen the first one, so I think we'd have to show them that. There's a lot going on here. A lot going on.
You can just throw that on.
All right. I gotta go.
Okay.
I gotta go.
Right.
I gotta get out to Stevenson. Hey, thanks today to Jeremy Fowler from ESPN. Thanks to Mike Bordick. Thanks to Tim Brando, and also to Bo Smolka. We'll get all of it up in the greatest hits section of the tab at glennclarkradio.com. Jeff Pearlman's going to join us on Monday. We're going to talk to him about the Bo Jackson book. He gave me a shout-out in the acknowledgments, which was neat for me. I was like, I like Jeff Pearlman, man. That's really cool. We'll do that on Monday. Tomorrow morning, of course, the Bat Around from 10 to noon with Paul and Zach. Make sure you're tuned in for that, as they'll be talking baseball with you. And then we'll be back next week. Who else do I feel like there was something else I wanted to get a plug in for. I've already forgotten it, so who cares? Thanks.
Okay.
Well, just something related to us, and I can't, or PressBox, and I can't come up with
Bowser show coming up.
We already did a promo for that, but join us Tuesday night for that. We'll have more chance of talking about that. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill, Glory Days Grill, Guilford Hall Brewery, Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, I mentioned them, as well as your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, Royal Farms, the Costas Inn, and more. The Baltimore County Police Department, thank you to them as well. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go all of the area football and hoops teams. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too.